Hello. Hi. Hi, everybody. Everybody talking in the chat. We're a little bit late today. My apologies. You gonna say anything tonight, Han, or are you not feeling like talking today?
Yeah.
You tastefully waiting for me to put your picture in place.
I didn't exist yet.
Bardic RJ's at 4 hours, imagine raiding Blue. Ha ha ha! Very funny. I'm gonna try my best not to raid Bard all the time. That's gonna be weird. Wow. How are we doing? See, one thing that I know that a lot of streamers use is that they appear to have some sort of Discord plugin that essentially makes reactive PNG tubers. Ah! Fucking nerd! Throwing shit at me? There's like a Discord plugin that can make reactive PNG tubers out of people's Discord icons because I've seen them use it in their streams, but Lord knows if I know how to set that up. And it would be a bit redundant for Spook because Spook uses my microphone, not his microphone. But it might be something that I need to use once we move out.
Oh, when we move out, you'll just be able to hook it up because I'll have to phone you over Discord.
Yes. What I'm saying is that it saves people having to have like webcams and stuff on all the time. So for now, we've just got a little PNG representation of Spook. Excuse me, goodness. That's the McNowlers we just had. Ah. Flares. You know the whole GIF versus GIF argument? I do. I do. I can hear the gremlin walking around. Jekyll and Hyde has the same thing. You say that some people say Geckle and Hyde? Or am I misinterpreting that? Why are you doing a type matchup sheet?
I'm exercising my brain.
Okay.
To keep me informed on how Excel works. It's like a warm-up.
Oh, okay. You're doing an Excel warm-up. The author said it's Jekyll. Jekyll? Yeah, because the person who created the GIF format says it's GIF. They're wrong. I don't care. Right, let's open Clip Studio. Textures. Here is our textures. I'm texturing this tonight. So if we must say GIF and Jekyll. Oh no. Nope. No, that's not. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Okay. Oh, let's see the light and the heat. Wow. Great. Let's get a picture of it. No, Google, I'm not searching for Monster Hunter. I know that sounds fake coming from me. I know that sounds like an absolute lie, but that is the case. I am not searching for Monster Hunter. I am, in fact, searching for Monster Energy drinks. Monster Energy is going to start promoting an alcoholic beverage called Beast. What? Oh dear, no, let's not go down that rabbit hole. By the way, this is looking great, really. Thanks, it's just a black canister. It's just a black canister. Right, where's my art reference that I was doing? I gotta reference my own art. Those who aren't 100% sure what's happening. I'm making a reference to a joke that I made during a commission where someone asked me to draw their character drinking energy drink, and I made a spoof energy drink called Werebeast instead of Monster. It's furries. I'm now reproducing this as a 3D object. I have no idea how you made it look like a can on top. I modelled it. I made it look like a can by making it look like a can. I made it look like a can by making it look like a can. This is the impressive bit, is that it opens. Ta-da! That's the impressive bit. Ta-da! I'm well pleased with that. I'm well pleased with that. It opens! It opens! I haven't been able to get it open in game. Okay. So, because I figured it wouldn't make good stream content, I spent almost all of my day today getting this thing into Unity to try and get it to work, because this is meant to be a game asset that people can have in VR chat and interact with. Because, you know, the texture I can do later, which is what I'm going to be doing tonight. The short version is that after about 6 hours, I still could not get it to work. Because I couldn't find any guides for this specific thing that I'm trying to do, which I thought would be relatively easy. Which is basically, this model has this animation in it as a blend shape to open and close it. I added a trigger to the top of the can so that when a person's hand came into contact with it, it would play the animation so that it goes from closed to open. That was all I was trying to do. Couldn't get that to work. It's been hours. Couldn't get it to work. Wish I knew why. The trigger is working because I can use an in-game overlay to make triggers visible so you can see if they are, you know, working. And they change a different colour to show that they are active. So I can see the trigger on the can in-game, and when I touch it with a hand, it triggers, that it changes colour, but the animation doesn't play. It doesn't open the can, and I don't know why. I'm probably just going to have to troubleshoot that some more tomorrow, because tonight I'm just going to paint the texture, because, you know, after 6 hours of trying to work out how Unity works and failing, a bit fed up, you might say. So we're doing this instead. And I've dragged Spook along to be here with me.
Hello.
Yes, that's what I thought. So while we were travelling today, as we've been sorting out paperwork and stuff again, we talked a little bit in the car about what Spook might do tonight, and he decided to do something Pokemon related.
I decided to upset everyone.
Spook is here to upset everyone. Hi, Diglett! You're just in time. We're about to talk Pokemon. It's not Sunday, guys, but we are in fact going to talk about Pokemon. Which is, Spook is here to be a freaking Pokemon boomer and explain how all modern Pokemon are garbage. And express his opinions.
Yeah, you all suck, and you're all secretly part of Team Rocket, and you've all been brainwashed, and I don't like any of you. That is my opinion.
This was the
Herein lies the lecture. What is that?
This is the thing that I was telling you about that is on Twitter at the moment.
Oh, that thing.
I'll bring this over so people can see. This has been going around on Twitter. This is a very cleverly made website because this is actually all coded in. So you've got pick your favourites from generation via type. At the end, it goes all the way over to your favourite starter gimmick and legendary, and then the favourite out of all of them. And then at the bottom, you've got things like favourite Eevee, favourite fossil. The clever part is that all of these boxes are coded. So if you click Gen 1 normal, it gives you a list of all the Gen 1 normals. And you click fire, it's got all the Gen 1 fire. And then when you go to the very end and it wants your favourite overall, it shows you all the ones that you picked. So it's a very clever little sheet that someone's made here. It's a very clever little thing. So all of the applicable things appear when you click on them. So favourite regional bird is Pidgey. Favourite regional mammal is Zigzagoon. Favourite evolution might be, for example, a Sylveon, but only if it's shiny.
Oh wow.
They coded in shinies. That's the cool bit. You click on the charm, you can make it shiny. Like, favourite Gen 1 ground type, Nidoking. Shiny Nidoking. So this is a very clever little thing, and this has been doing the rounds on Twitter. As you can see, I've not filled it in. And there's like things down here of like code and the grid and stuff. And you can click in a team box, so you can pick. I think that's how it works. I'm not sure how this works. Click team box, then pick a Pokemon in the grid to assign it. But yeah, it's very interesting. That bit doesn't seem to work very well. Favourite box legendary, Lugia. Favourite mythical, no. And so on and so forth.
I didn't even realise there was a difference between legendary and mythical.
Yes, that's... God, Cerebi Joe! Cerebi Joe, if you were here now. God, that's a pedestal that they have been preaching from for the last, 7 years. There is, in fact, a difference between mythical and legendary.
What is it?
Mythicals are generally defined as something that you can only be obtained through an event. So mythicals are legendaries, but not all legendaries are mythicals. Because this was favourite box legendaries, this category. So if you go to favourite legend in Generation 1, it's the 3 birds and Mewtwo and Mew. So Mew is a legendary, and is also a mythical. You could only get Mew from an event. You couldn't get it in-game naturally.
So it's a meta thing?
Yeah, generally it's a meta thing. It's a meta category. Mythical. All legendaries. Jirachi's the mythical. These are all legendaries. Shaman is a mythical. Arceus is a mythical. And I think Manaphy is a mythical. Yeah, they had a lot. Oh, Deoxys is mythical as well. Yeah, event only, basically, is what mythical is. Not actually native to their games. Favourite Vivillon. Favourite regional. There's a lot of regional forms now. Regional Ultras. It's a dark type. Gigantamax. Fluffy. So yeah, so I was going to suggest maybe you try using this if you wanted to, but that's up to you.
I feel like it would be very boring because I haven't played too many of the games, and so there'd just be a lot of repeats because it'd be like, is this Pokemon in Generation 2? Cool, then it's my favourite as well.
Well, as you see, if I click on Gen 5, it doesn't include it's exclusive, just because Pidgey appears in Gen 5, it's not an option on the Gen 5 list, it has to be from that generation, so when you got to here, you'd be going off the picture. So Mega Pidgeot got introduced in this generation, so it's here, but regular Pidgeot isn't. So you'd be going off appearance for these guys, because you've never seen any of these.
Is that just an Eevee dog?
No, it's a poodle. And it gets its hair cut in different patterns because that's the thing that poodles do.
So it's worse because they're not actually the same type that the colours indicate.
There's a little that does. Yay! Stop! Yeah, I was talking about this video. I was going through the Scarlet and Violet one, and it was like, "What's your favorite fighting type?" And I was like, "Koraidon." And then it was like, "What's your favorite dragon type?" And I was like, "It's Koraidon. It's Koraidon." And what's your favorite legendary? That's also Koraidon. Anyway, time to close that. Haunter is S tier. See, Nemo knows what they're talking about. Mammal, I have several questions. Oh? The only real legendary is Arcanine, confirm. Stomna's a good boy. Yes, they are. So yes, I was going to suggest that Spook use that instead.
I mean, I can do if you really want me to, but I don't know if it'd be too interesting because I've not played enough of them.
No, that's
understandable. It's hard to say which is your favourite. Well, none.
That's understandable.
I've not played it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. It'd be too entertaining to watch me just sitting here going, "What's that? What's that?" And
Fair.
then you being like, "No image."
It's going to be like that anyway. So the general idea that Spook was going to do was basically, a cutting room floor kind of deal, where they were going to go through the Pokedex and basically mark any Pokemon that they think Pokemon could do without. So, yeah, was just the sort of it. But I felt that basically it would be Gen 1, yes. Gen 2 would be yes, no. And then after that, it would be just no, because I don't know what it is. Which, that's just me. Because you don't know anything past Gen 2/3. Right, anyway, I'm going to get on with my little parody duder. I'm going to start with drawing it on the can, just to sort of see how it appears.
Why is there a Pokemon Living Dex thing that says Venusaur M and Venusaur F?
Because people who are really, really crazy about the living dex will include form variants, and Venusaur has a male-female form variant.
What is
it? One has a seed in its flower. I can't remember which it is. It might be the female.
I would hope the male.
Venusaur. This is where I get to educate Spook on various Pokemon things. It won't be in the concept art, it'll be in the sprites. All the way down at the bottom. All the way down at the bottom. Sprites. Seed. That's a female which has the seed. People who are crazy about living dexes consider that to be a variant and they include it. So my living dex is not a form living dex, but Sarah B. Joe's living dex is a form living dex.
Why does the female have the seed?
I don't know.
Is that a plant thing?
I assume it's a plant thing.
Okay.
So yeah. So MMF will be male and female variants. The female has the seed because the seed is what gets pollinated.
That makes sense.
Where's my brush? There's my brush. Luminous green. Fairly flat on the texture. It kind of looks like it's fairly flat, if I'm honest, so it might be alright just to paint directly onto the texture. Let's create a group for this. Front. Back. So I'm guessing Spook's going to be somewhat quiet at the start because he's coding his own thing out for it, as he likes to do.
I like to code.
It's good.
Just making a short list of them. Oh my god, there's so many Pikachu variants.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah, I
lord.
mean, you can kind of ignore the hats, I think, because that was like a event thing of like, here, you can get a Pikachu wearing all of the hats that Ash had in the anime. That's what that is. Okay. Opening. Tab underside, tab top, underside, lid. There we go, that's a bit better. Let's get a colour pick. Ketchup chunk Pikachu is the best chunk. So chunky because he eats too much ketchup. Where roughly does that appear? Almost slap bang in the middle.
So I'll see if I can get the Gen 1 list put on here first, and then we'll start taking bets, shall we, as to who people think. What do people think a boomer Pokemon player likes and dislikes in Pokemon?
I mean, starters are just honestly go without saying, even though we all know that your favourite is Squirtle, you'll probably just be like, all the starters are fine. I'm not offended by a Charmander or Bulbasaur.
What do we think, chat?
Is missing no Pokemon 000? Oh, technically, it's a coding glitch. Doesn't appear in the Pokedex. Stunfisk will be left on the cutting room floor. Stunfisk.
I don't know Stunfisk.
It's now become a meme because it was getting on my nerves in Infinite Fusion.
Alright.
Because of all the Pokemon that needed a regional variant, it was Stunfisk. Except the regional variant's very clever because it's a bear trap.
Alright, there we go. I think I got the list. All of the gem ones done. Okay. So, let me go and grab a drink first. I'm struggling here.
You didn't have to do this, you know. You've been
I
at
do.
work all day.
I do, because care
Oh,
extra.
thank you. I'm really glad that you came here. Yeah, you're all scratchy.
Yes.
No.
I am growing beard.
No! Scratchy!
Right. I have a meme Pokemon for you. Oh no. It's a core meme.
I like how that is the thing now. Every time Core says I have something for you, everybody goes, oh.
Yeah. It's gonna be cursed. If you want to avoid some sort of copyright love, do you want to change the colour?
Oh, I probably will, yeah, I'm just getting the shape down. The thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put each aspect on a different layer, the idea being that I'll include PSD and people can recolour it how they want, because obviously, you know, Monster comes in 5 billion colours now. Because look at this monstrosity. Yeah. Pick any colour you want, there's a monster variant of it.
Or has posted something cursed in the Discord.
Spook Vid 2023 got my vote. Thanks, Galaxia. You're just saying that because you want to see Spook at Games Expo and rub beards.
There's a meme channel in your
Yes.
Discord?
Ah! No, it's bad! Oh no, it's bad! I'm not saying that.
I don't know how long the beard will last.
Hmm?
I don't know how long the beard will last.
Why will it annoy you?
Might do, but I will try.
I It might annoy you less when you start to trim it neatly.
I need to grow a bit.
Right, I'm gonna actually open it.
Oh. Right, so
haven't
here's how
opened
the
this file in
rating
a
system works. We're going with a traffic light system.
Okay.
Very simple.
Uh-huh.
Red means no, not even up for negotiating, just no.
Uh-huh.
Green means it's fine as it is, gets a tick, it's in the world. And then yellow is going to be yes, but a asterisk.
Right.
A little
Yes, but you got to justify it.
Yes, but it needs to change, basically,
Oh,
is
okay.
what that means. I need to make some, maybe small, maybe big changes to it.
Okay.
And this isn't for, I know you said that there's a lot of YouTubers that do their own regions. This is meant to be how I think Pokemon World should work. So that's across all regions. Yeah.
So this isn't Spook's fan region. Spook just thinks this is how Pokemon should be.
So, going down the list, we've got Bulbasaur line and the Charmander line and the Squirtle line, the Caterpie and the Weedles and all that, and the Pidgeys, and I think all of that's fine. That's all pretty standard.
Oh, what a
stuff.
surprise!
It's all pretty standard, even down to like. In fact, this might be the first one where I actually have a bit of a kind of little asterisk here under the Pikachu line.
Oh, you're already getting controversial. We're thinking
bold to begin with.
We're making a bold statement to do with Pikachu. Do you want to share that to me, and I can have that on just in the corner so people have got a tiny visual?
Right.
It won't be a very clear visual, guys, because the screen's going to get very cluttered. Huh? Yes. There we go. And then you'll want to share your screen to me. And then I will pop that out. Come on, Discord. There we go. Like I say, you won't be able to really read it because of how zoomed out Spook is on his screen. I don't want to have these cameras.
You can click the little dots to hide non-clickable. And then click it again, there you go.
And then I will add window capture. There we go. Add source. Source. That one. This might be a little too little. Because otherwise my screen isn't going to be very clear. Properties. No, not properties. Let's transform. Transform. I don't know how visible that's going to be on Twitch. A second to update.
That's fine.
Might trim the top a little bit more.
Yeah, I suppose you can trim the top because that's just the
transform, edit transform. Not 3,300.
Then why are you looking at my love? You haven't gone live yet.
Totally professional streamer doing everything on the fly. There we go. There's a little Spook's cutting room floor in the top corner.
There we go. Look at that.
Nearly got my salamanders painted. Close my eyes and I see green. Oof.
Scroll. Okay. The first controversial Pokemon that I would make some sort of change to.
Take a sip. Right. There we go. Spook's controversial opinion. We have arrived at Raichu, and you're putting Raichu in the yellow.
Putting Raichu in the yellow. This is old man shouts at cloud moment. This is my old man moment.
Okay.
So here's the issue, and it's not just with Raichu. This is going to be a recurring
issue. Okay.
Can you guess what it is?
They're too much like Pikachu?
No.
No?
I ain't got the problem with that. What do we think, chat? Why do you think I have some issue with Raichu? What issue do you think I could have with Raichu?
See, this is interesting because when I was younger, I didn't like Raichu because I liked Pikachu more because Pikachu was my first Pokemon. I had Pokemon Yellow. Hi, Coyote! Hi, we're talking about Pokemon even though it's not Sunday, so you've joined at a great time.
Every day is Sunday.
Yes.
I mean, right now your issue is with Raichu, so currently my issue is with you. Mortal rival Spook.
I thought you were going to scratch beards together.
You couldn't get it in Pokemon Yellow? Nope, not that.
Yeah, see, I couldn't get, because I had Pokemon Yellow first, and Pikachu was my first Pokemon. You couldn't get Raichu because your Pikachu refused to evolve, so my brain just kind of didn't really like Raichu, and then there was that Pokemon episode versus Surge where Raichu was a dick. So my kid brain was like, oh, is that why you don't like Raichu?
No.
No, okay.
Not.
My kid brain was like, Raichu is not bad. It is bad. Now I've matured a little bit and I actually like Raichu a bit more. I like his long tail.
Had the defensive tinfoil. No.
Is it because it's overshadowed by its precursor's evolution?
Nope. Not even that either.
Is it too chunky?
Nope, it's not about it being too chunky.
What's the problem with Raichu?
No, I like Raichu's design. I think Raichu's a cool Pokemon. I really do.
Why don't you
What
like
I don't
Raichu?
like is how it fits into the Pokemon world by the form of being evolved via a Thunderstone. I find the stones to just be a real kind of cheap, gimmicky
You don't like
currency.
evolution stones?
Yeah, you can just go to Celadon City and you can just buy an infinite amount of them. Where do they come from? What are these stones from? And why is it that there's water, electric, fire, and leaf stones? You know, where do they come from? That's what I find kind of rubbish about it. And why is it specifically Pikachu that only evolves via a Thunderstone? There's just too much of it that I feel like is not explained. That's what I don't like.
Interesting.
It just winds me up. I think it would be cooler if there was like a certain place in the world, or maybe only a few select places in the world, where there was like a place that you go and you take your Pokemon, and whilst they're within this region, you know, after spending an amount of time there, they will evolve.
You're naming a feature that got added in Sun and Moon.
Oh.
They added in a thing called a magnetic field, which you could evolve Charjabug into Vikavolt, which was the bug type Pokemon. They added in an area that had a magnetic field. Also in in Diamond and Pearl, they added the Moss Rock and the Ice Rock, which kind of do the same thing for Eevee, where you had to level up an Eevee near one of these rocks. So that's really funny that the reason you don't like them was kind of fixed, but they didn't retroactively apply it to things like Raichu.
Because just thinking about, if you try and think about the Pokemon world as if it's a living, breathing space, so things are going on behind the scenes even when you're just wandering around doing your own thing, why do you never find any wild Raichus? From a Pikachu's perspective, if it wants to be prosperous and if it wants to, you know, carry on its genes and whatnot into the gene pool, as animals are programmed to do. That is
that is what they do. They are programmed to, you know, eat, live, and make more of themselves.
And procreate. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. And the best way to do that is to become the biggest and the strongest thing you can. So, if there are Thunderstones and stuff that are just out there in the wild, there are going to be Pikachus that are going to gravitate towards them, understand what they do, and they're going to pass that information on to their offspring, so you would find lots of Raichus out in the world. You don't find any.
With the Thunderstone as well. I assume this argument then applies to all of the... This applies to the evolution.
I'm not against the idea of them being stones in general. I just want a better explanation behind them, and where there's some sort of, like, gathering point as to like this is the main thing, and you might find shards or pieces every so often, and they might be a held item that might boost the evolution for that Pokemon. But as opposed to it being just this kind of
Like
gimmicky, here's a cute little currency piece, here's a Bitcoin that turns you into a better Pikachu.
Yeah, here we go.
I just find that a bit naff.
Yeah, they did update that, but only for newer Pokemon. Here you go. So a special magnetic field is where a Magneton, Nosepass, and Charjabug can evolve into Magnezone, Probopass, and Vikavolt respectively. In the core series, they were at Sinnoh and Mount Coronet, in Chargestone Cave in Nova, in Kalos on Route 13. In Hoenn, there is a magnetic field in New Moleville, so they retroactively added it in Modern, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, in Alola, and in Hisui. But it was only applied to these 3 Pokemon. The evolved form for Magnemite, or Magneton, which is meant to be based off a UFO. The evolved form for Nosepass, because Nosepass needed an evolution. It's got magnetic filings on it. And then Vikavolt, which is the evolved form of Charjabug, which is a little battery little battery bug. Little bug based off a battery. Evolves into I've forgotten the name of it. It's kind of like a Gatling, has like a Gatling shot. It's based off like a combination of a gun and a stag beetle.
Okay.
Railgun. There we go. That's the word I couldn't for. Vikavolt, based off of a stag beetle and a railgun.
Okay.
So it's interesting. That's very interesting to me that your main gripe with Raichu is something that has been added into the game, but the Pokemon Company has actively chosen not to apply it to previous Pokemon. I guess because they don't want to invalidate stones already existing.
There's a good one. What is your least favourite Gen 1 Pokemon? Ooh. Can I get a picture of Pokemon Gen 1? It's easy to see from pictures.
Least favourite.
Least favourite Gen 1
Diglett has a
Pokemon.
good point. You should play Mystery Dungeon, because in Mystery Dungeon they have the Evolving Cave, which is literally just a cave that you go into to evolve. You can't naturally evolve outside of the Evolving Cave. Execute, it's 6 eggs. That's fair. Not a strong one. Honestly, considering how many people have nostalgia glasses, I personally think that there's quite a few Gen 1 Pokemon that don't exactly sit great for me. In fact, I'm going to bring this back up and I'm going to use it in inverse. I'm going to reset this. I'm going to use it inversely. Least favourite normal type Pokemon. Probably Lickitung. Least favourite normal type. Least favourite fire is Magmar, easily. Least favourite water. Slowbro. Least favourite grass. Yeah, execute.
I'd say my least favourite Gen 1 overall is probably Mr. Mime.
Yeah?
It's one that I keep coming back to.
I can validate that. Yeah, I'm not big on Mr. Mime either. Least favourite electric. Big on Electrode.
What do we got? Oh yeah, I made a video about this a while ago. There's so many naff Pokemon, but like it's still fun. I want to say Coughing Climb, but that could be Team Rocket Bias. Ash's dad, understandable.
Mr. Mime. Ash's dad.
I'll go back to the list.
Yeah, we'll go back. Yeah, we can come to that
so
later.
That I go through them sort of in order.
So you don't like Raichu because of its evolution method,
It's
which
not
is
that
why
I don't
it's
like
yellow.
Raichu. It's that I don't like
The evolution,
Thunderstones
yeah.
more or less. So that's why I put
That's
it
why
as
it's
a yellow.
yellow.
Like it goes in. Raichu definitely goes in. I like Raichu. I feel like it's a bit weird why that one has like a Thunderstone and why it would need a Thunderstone. You know, why does it need a particular area? That's something that I feel is kind of just put there to be like, Pikachu is the flagship, so
Yeah.
it will always stay as Pikachu
We'll
until
make
you
it special.
actively go somewhere else.
Yeah,
which is a bit meta for my life.
because that's the weird thing, as you say, because Pikachu is the mouse Pokemon, and you find it in Viridian Forest, and it's like, well, if this is their natural environment, how the heck do they evolve? You know, there's no Thunderstones in Viridian Forest.
Yeah.
They don't live in an electric area. They live in a forest.
Nothing adds up. Down the Clefairy line and the Vulpix line, Jigglypuff, Wigglytuff, the Zubat line. Yep, I'm all good with that. That's fine. Oddish Gloom, Vileplume, Paras and Parasite. The reason I think a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon are so liked and the reason why they do reappear in so many versions is because they are creatures.
Yes.
They pass the main test of they look like things that are out in the wild that are creatures. Venonat, Venomoth. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with them.
Diglett and Dugtrio.
They're weird ones. I think I personally put them as yellow because I think they're okay concept-wise, but I feel like, especially with the way modern Pokemon have slightly higher standards, I think they could do with a redesign to make them more visually interesting, honestly. I think they could do with looking a bit more like moles.
My issue with Diglett and Dugtrio is that I think they should definitely be in there. I like them being in there, but the amount of time that people are going to spend studying these creatures and you don't know what they look like underground, I think is an impossibility.
Back off, they gave me hair! Oh, I get to enlighten Spook. Ooh, aren't we glad that this is a regional form, that this took up space?
That may be the laziest form of concept art I've ever seen. That just looks funny.
The thing is that this makes sense. It's based off a thing.
Does it?
Yeah, it's
Does
called it's called Pele's hair. That's what it's called. It's from Hawaii, which is where Alola is. And these are little like shards of fiberglass essentially that form from volcanoes. It's a steel type Dugtrio that lives around a volcano. So it makes sense, it just looks dumb.
Do these fibres naturally form into glam rock surfer hairstyles?
That's good.
No. No, they don't. No, they do not.
No, they don't, but obviously that's where the sort of meme creation comes in. They look so silly.
They look like a boy band.
Yeah.
They look like they're about to say tubular idea. That's what they look like they're about to say.
This one's got a fringe.
That one is going to get... I might have to create a new colour of orange to be like yellow, but you're fucking pushing it. You're taking liberties there.
He's got a fringe. So not only does he have Pele's hair, but Pele's hair had a haircut. So that was the idea behind it, is that it's called Pele's hair, so they were like, well, we'll style it like hair. So that's why it's steel type, because it's shards of volcanic stuff formed from volcanoes. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're encroaching on thin ice there. But anyway, back to the normality. My issue with Diglett and Dugtrio is that you would not have people that dedicate so much of their lives to researching Pokemon that somebody isn't going to have found out what the fuck they look like underneath. Even if it's just a case of having them in like an ant farm, so you've got glass either side. Someone is going to know what they look like underground.
Yeah.
This is just a fact. And what happens when like earthquakes happen? So the redesign would be you have to finish the model. Do not get away with this culling disappears under the map, shrinks down or whatever, you know, computer game logic of how do we get it to disappear thing. There needs to be an answer to this.
Yeah.
So they get a yellow from it.
I'm guessing the same would apply to Wiglet, but I guess we won't talk too much about Wiglet because Wiglet is technically a different Pokemon. It's not a regional variant, different Pokemon.
So the next one...
It has been 0 days since Blue talked about convergent evolution.
So the next controversial one, I would say, would potentially be Persian.
Persian Meow. Not Meowth, just Persian.
Not Meowth, just Persian. What?
Oh, he's already thinking and pondering.
I'm already thinking.
He's
I
already
don't know
doubting.
which one of the two needs a little change.
What is your issue with them?
Well, on the one hand, I'm like, these are fancy creatures. They live in a different world. They're supposed to look different. You know, they're supposed to be different. Meowth ticks that box. But then on the other hand, there are some Pokemon, like Tauros, that does look very similar to what our version would be.
I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes I think I agree that they're a bit dull. But I think the idea is, from my perspective, is that because the Pokemon world is a different world, there are certain ecological niches that are naturally going to be filled via evolution, which is why we have things like Pidgey and Rattata. They're just birds, and they're just rats. They're just the Pokemon equivalent. Yeah. So it's like, Meowth just looks like a cat, and it's like, yeah, it's just the equivalent of a cat.
But that's the thing. Persian looks like a cat. Yeah. Meowth is a little different.
Yes.
Stands on 2 legs. It's got a considerably bigger head, so I'm like, I feel like they don't fully marry up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Persian's head, in contrast to its body, it does just look like an anime cat.
Yes.
Whereas Meowth looks like a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of
There's
difference between
disconnect
them.
there. Like you can see Pikachu going into Raichu, I guess.
Yeah, so I think I might swap that round actually. Of
Yeah.
like, I know Meowth is a staple one. I know what it's based off of because it's got the coin.
The Nika.
Yeah, the Nika cat thing.
Nika.
But I just feel like it's a little bit too different from what Persian is. It's leaning towards the what you would call like the Digimon evolution.
Yeah, I guess.
You
Yeah,
know.
but the opposite way around, I guess.
It's leaning towards a little bit of the extreme. You know. So again, it's in. I don't want it to
Persian
go,
is,
but it's a little bit off.
because you can say Persian is a cat, but when you look at it and sort of compare it, you can see that it's very clearly like a mountain lion because of the size that it's meant to be. Maybe could have done with a better name, in my opinion.
Growlithe and Arcanine. Yeah, there you go.
Don't make me summon the boy.
Poliwag, Poliwhirl, and Poliwrath. Again, they're weird, but I kind of like them. They're still creatures.
Yeah, they're just based off IRL tadpoles. That the swirl is based off the fact that you can see their intestines because they have partially see-through skin. It's just based off a real thing. My main gripe with Poliwhirl and Poliwrath is that there's not a lot of change between the two phases. Poliwhirl into Poliwrath is Poliwhirl got angry.
Yeah, that's fair.
They're not very different, so I think that's my personal opinion.
No,
Poliwrath
that's
is
a fair criticism.
yeah.
You'd say
Poliwrath
you're
doesn't
right.
change enough, in my opinion. It needs to change more to be an evolution, in my opinion.
It definitely gets broader shoulders and stuff, but that isn't always necessarily obvious to see.
Yeah.
Silhouette-wise, you might not, from a distance, you might not be able to tell the difference.
It's like in 3D you could be like, yeah, it gets bulkier, but you know, I'm not seeing a lot of change here in comparison to some lines. You know, yeah, it's just he's bulked up, he's gotten bulkier, but it's like he's got the same spiral body, he's got the same gloves, he's got the same feet, he's got the same eyes. He's just angry.
Looking if they'd gone from like a design thing of like, right, we've got a Poliwag, and then it evolves into Poliwhirl, and then they've said we need an evolution line. Someone sat there with a pencil and gone, how do I draw this to be more? And all they've done is basically grabbed it and scaled it up, and it's like that's what you've done. You've just scaled it up.
See, look, this is an interesting that someone's made here. I kind of like this because they're based off frogs. So if we've got, you know, a little Poliwag, which is Poliwag, a tadpole, and if Poliwhirl is our end frog, then our Poliwhirl in the middle should need more akin to this. It should still have a little bit of a tail on it.
A little tail and not much in the way of hands.
Yeah. Because that's how frog evolution works. Like, they literally, as you said, they went from tadpole to frog, and then they were like, shit, more frog. And it's like, well, you went straight to frog. So I've made either Poliwrath or Poliwhirl needs to change. There's not enough difference between the two of them, in my opinion.
No, that's... I think that's pretty good criticism myself.
It's, we're going into creative design critique here.
Abracadabra and Alakazam. I quite like them.
They're pretty good, actually.
I think they
Thinking
are.
back.
I know they're bipedal and they do have a lot of similarities to people, but I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on exactly why I like them. They feel to me as if they're almost insectoid.
There's a little bit of carapaciness about them.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
A little bit of but the thing, especially, it's mostly in Kadabra. It doesn't really come across in the other two, but I feel a little bit of foxiness in his face as well.
Tell a lie. Tell a lie. Kadabra and Alakazam get a yellow. Lose the spoon.
You don't like the spoon?
It was a funny little reference to like the Matrix. I understand with like spoon bending and stuff, it's a popular psychic thing. I do not accept that an Abra can all of a sudden evolve and grow a metal spoon from out of thin air.
Yeah. Okay, so here's going to be another new dip for you. So you're familiar with Abra, you're familiar with Kadabra, and you're familiar with Alakazam. This is Mega Alakazam.
We're not even going to touch Mega Evolutions. Mega Evolutions immediately get a blanket red.
You don't like them?
No,
in the slightest.
They are clearly...
What if you took the spoons away?
Nope. The way you get to Mega Evolutions is through a Mega Evolution stone, is it? Is it not? Yeah? Something, I mean, talking from a metal point of view, that is obviously just a gimmick that they put in, but from inside the Pokemon lore world, what is it that Team Rocket has been saying that they were going to do since 1996? They are going to find ways to make Pokemon super powerful fighting machines. Justify to me that a Pokemon Mega Evolving is not what Team Rocket has been planning on doing for the past 25 years.
I literally can't, because almost every single Pokedex entry about Mega Evolution talks about how it's actually really stressful for most of the Pokemon.
Yeah.
And it requires a really good trainer who is skilled enough to bring out their better qualities. And there's a lot of episodes in the anime about inexperienced trainers who make their Pokemon Mega Evolve, and because they're inexperienced, it doesn't go well. But of course, because Ash has like protagonist armor, he Mega Evolves his Pokemon, and generally it's fine.
Yeah. So, anybody out there who has Mega Evolved Pokemon, you are secretly fulfilling part of Team Rocket's plan, and you're an evil son of a bitch. So, you're basically Hitler.
There we go. Spook's hot take is no Mega Evolutions whatsoever. Can you even say that there's any designs that you like, or you do not know any of them?
There's probably like designs that there's probably like image-wise things that I think, yeah, that looks cool, but I just don't think that Mega Evolution should be a thing in the world. I feel like that should be a, not like a species thing. That should be a one-off thing, like Mewtwo in his armor. Mewtwo in
Mega
armor
Evolution is one-off. Did you not know that?
What?
Mega Evolution is one-off. Did you not know that?
No, but I mean, like, if you take any Charizard and Mega Evolve it, it Mega Evolves into that exact form. It's not a one-off thing. They all do it. That's what I mean.
Right. Well,
I feel like a one-off is like a genetic kind of. We took this Charizard, we fucked around with it with some weird magic-y stuff, and then this one turned into this.
Yeah, it's that they all Charizards do Mega Evolve if you have the Mega Stone.
Right.
So
that makes it a uniform thing because they all do the same thing. It's not a one-off thing.
No, it's not a one-off.
That's what I mean.
Right. Okay. So it's one of those things where it's like it's not permanent. They'll evolve. They'll go back to a regular Charizard.
Yeah, they regress down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is my more suspicious stones. Yeah, Magic Rock seems to be Pokemon's answer to things. I don't know why. When it's quite clear that Pokemon uses the most advanced technology out of any anime that I've seen. I know I don't have a very broad anime viewing.
You've watched a little anime.
I've watched very little anime, but even from the stuff where I see it's where it's like they've got Gundams or they've got mechs and stuff, and it's like you have the power to minimize mass and transport things electronically anywhere in the world and even through time. The amount of the level of technology that you're talking about from the Pokemon universe has got to be fucking up there beyond Star Trek, because that is an ungodly amount of energy required just to do even once, and that is happening 24/7 all around the world, hundreds of thousands of people. Unbelievable level of technology. So the fact that it's like, how do we answer this? Magic Rocks.
Yeah, everybody can mark down their other counter. It's been 0 days since Blue spoke about infinity energy again. Infinity energy and convergent evolution. It's Blue's favourite topics, everybody. The thing that Pokemon doesn't really talk about very often in plain terms, but ever since probably about Diamond and Pearl has basically been the thing of like, where does all of this stuff, why is the Pokemon world like this? Infinity energy, that's your answer.
So the next hot take we're going to go to is the Matchup line.
Oh boy.
I like Matchup. I really do. I don't know whether it's a bit of bias because I played a lot of Pokemon trading card game, the PC one, and that was the main one for the opponent's deck, fighting against Matchup. However, the one thing I will have a gripe about is that Machoke and Machamp seem to have wrestling belts.
Yeah.
Where'd they grow them from? It's a very odd thing for a natural-born creature to suddenly grow.
Machamp is fine. The entire line is just fine for me.
That's the thing, I'm biased towards fine. I like there needs to be normal stuff so that when you get to the weird stuff, it looks weird.
Yeah.
If you don't have a baseline, not boring, but a baseline normal-looking thing, like you said, Rattata and Pidgey.
Yeah.
If you don't have Rattata and Pidgey, then when you do bring out Moltres and you go, well, look, it's a big bird, it's like, yeah, but this one's clearly different. Yes. You can see how amazing and fantastic it is. Look at the basic bitch bird.
Yeah. And
then the Pidgey walks out and goes, hey, do you mind? It's like, oh yeah, because this is the Divergent. This is what you get when you turn the bird Pokemon into just basic.
Yeah, I gotta say, when I was looking at this and I got to fighting in Gen 1, I was looking at this window for a good couple of minutes because all I could do was stare at this window and realise I'm not a fan of fighting types, because I was sat there just being like, which of these is my favourite?
Hitmonlee. Fucking loved Hitmonlee as a kid. Hitmonlee was cool. He had high jump kick and stuff.
Like to slap his bald head. We'd like to slap his bald head.
I slap John's bald head all the time. I like slapping bald heads. Let's go, Hitmonlee. Kick the crap out of him. Kick him to the curb.
Yeah, I was sat there just like, I don't know. I've come to the opinion that I share with, I think, a couple of people on the Subjectively channel, which if you don't follow, you should, because it's very interesting, which is that I think most of my favourite fighting types are the fighting types that are not just a man. Because it's like,
I don't know, I mean, I like Machamp, but this is the thing. You're not a big... You don't really like just martial arts.
No,
That's
I'm not martial
an
arts
so
person.
you're naturally just not going to like them. It's like, you know, what's your favourite bug Pokemon? Like, you're probably not going to have as many. Might be maybe some of the butterflies that have pretty colours on them, but it's like, do you like the spiders?
The butterflies
no.
in snow.
Yeah, it's like you're not a bug type fan, so if you don't like that, like to me, if you were like, what's your favourite fairy Pokemon, Spook? I'd be like, I don't know, how about you fuck off and grow a pair, get a real Pokemon. Like, it's, you know, who my favourite fairy? I don't care. Steel Pokemon now, interesting. Steel, that's my thing.
Yeah, that's just type
preferences.
preferences.
It's a personal thing. But yeah, Machoke and Machamp, again, I like fighters. I like the idea of, you know, it's a thing that just beats the shit out of stuff. That's kind of what Pokemon are supposed to do. That's cool to me, but lose the belts. The belts make it unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
The belt should be something that you make that you then...
Yeah,
give
it should
to
be
them
like a
and say,
held
you know,
item.
But then anybody can, you know, be awarded a belt, you know, well done. Bellsprout, Weeping Bell, Victreebel, yeah, oh cool, Tentacool. Then we get to the Geodudes. I'm gonna put...
Yeah. The Bellsprout line is one of those lines where I don't like it visually, but it has a place in the world. I did also find a shiny one.
I love the Bellsprout, Weeping Bell and Victreebel line. I think they may be my favourite grass types from Gen 1, because obviously I didn't start with Bulbasaur.
No.
I started with a Squirtle, so when I needed a grass type, they were my go-to grass types. So
this is the thing that I find so fun about the Pokemon franchise, which is that Pokemon that people may not like can grow on them when they get used. Which is, Berkey Vitobi literally told a story about how they did a playthrough stream of Diamond and Pearl before BDSTP came out, and they like chose to use some of the weird Pokemon that they weren't really a fan of, and by the end of the playthrough they loved them.
Yes, I also agree with Golden Diglett. Mankey was always great early game.
Yes, Mankey was useful early game.
I did like Mankey.
Yes.
I think a very underappreciated fighting type.
Yeah, he did get love because he got a third evolution in Scarlet and Violet.
Do I want to see this? Is this going to upset me?
I don't know.
This might upset me, mightn't it? Can we take a vote in chat quickly?
Can we get a quick vote on is Annihilate going to upset Spook? Das, can you whip up a poll for me? It's part ghost.
I see now I'm more now I'm already. Why is it part ghost? Is it dead?
In a way, a kinda. It's one of those weird things of is any ghost Pokemon dead?
Yes. Next question.
Oh my God.
That was an easy one.
Oh my god. Are you making the poll or shall I do it? Make a poll. New poll. Will Spook dislike Annihilate?
Calamity Coyotes put a little helpful how-to video on how to install Infinite Fusion on a Steam Deck.
Steam Deck. Well, that's going to be useful for anybody who.
I might have to recommend that to my mate Dan, because he's got a Steam Deck.
Whack that in the Discord. I've
It's
probably
emotionally dead other than rage. Hold us up. Right, take your votes. Will Annihilate make Spook sad?
Will Spook dislike Annihilate? This new room is so weak, and it feels rewarding to finally play this. Very helpful.
I always like the Nidoran lines.
I like Nidoran. Yeah, when I was
just a little angry rat.
Yeah, as I showed when I displayed the thing earlier, when it came up to me and it was like, "What's your favourite poison / ground type?" I was like, Nidoking, actually, and shiny Nidoking.
Oh, a lot of people think that I might actually like this. Either they don't know me.
Yeah, either they don't appreciate how much of an old man yells at Cloud Spook is.
I am very set in my ways.
Yes. Spook is stubborn.
Are you picturing this Annihilate in your head and you're like...
I'm very unsure. It could go either way, honestly. I'm not voting, because I'm very mid on this.
Because I've seen some third-tier evolutions. There was one for Electabuzz.
Yes.
There was one for Magneton.
Yes. They were all Diamond and Pearl era. Honestly, I think a lot of the Diamond and Pearl new evolutions they added in are mid. They added an evolution for so many things in Diamond and Pearl, and I think a lot of them are mid. Lickitung's evolution, mid. Magmar's evolution, mid. Electabuzz's evolution, mid. A lot of them are so mid. Honestly, Magmortar, I think I actively disliked for a very long time. Yeah, a couple of people in there voting for... We got 2 votes on yes.
Alright.
Okay, so people... I think people might be being optimistic, I don't know.
Potentially.
We'll see. Okay.
Is this one of them ones where people like it, so they just really hope that I don't shit all over?
Yeah, this is the thing. Annihilate, which is what it's called Annihilate.
Okay, yeah.
Has been very useful in the meta. Fighting in Ghost, it's been a very useful type. It has very strong moves. You know, it's a 3rd-tier evolution, so its stats are pretty good. I think a lot of people have been using Annihilate in their playthroughs. It has been a very strong Pokemon.
Narrowin's put, I only think you will not like it because it evolves from just using one move a certain number of times, which to me is similar to Evo Stones.
The idea being that it's a mechanic they introduced in Legends Arceus. Certain Pokemon could evolve into these forms by using a certain move a certain number of times. I think it's kind of cool because that implies that they are training.
But why just one move?
I think it's to do.
I thought that was the whole point of an experience in a level system, was to show your
I guess it's to do
growing.
with the style of training, because I believe the move is called Rage Fist. We'll go into it. Annihilate Pokemon.
Right, we're having a look. Oh god.
That wasn't a positive reaction, guys. First thoughts visually. He's got a slightly grumpy face.
The first thoughts visually is I don't picture Mankey and Primeape line. When I look at it, I don't see that.
You don't see it?
Actually, no.
Okay.
In fact, if you'd shown me that picture and said, what is that, I wouldn't have gone to Pokemon for my first. Mankey, after a monkey. Primeape, angry monkey pig thing.
Yeah.
It's a kind of monkey pig thing. That looks like a failed character from Andy Hopwood's Daring Dust Bunnies, if I'm honest.
Fair enough.
Alright, what's some of the lore behind this thing?
This is just the physical description. Covered in grey fur, metal shackle on its left arm is broken. Annihilate evolved from Primeape when the rage within its soul became too much for its physical form to contain. It gained increased power as a result of its spirit no longer being limited by the flesh. The rage that was bubbling inside fills its punches and with force that frightens its targets to their core. When anger rose beyond a critical point, this Pokemon gained power that is unfettered by the limits of its physical body, hence the broken shackles. It imbues its fist with the power of rage that kept hidden in its heart. Opponents struck by these imbued fists will be shattered to their death. This is the 3D model. So the reason that it is ghost type is that its rage ascended past its physical form.
You see, I don't feel like that is what would make it a ghost type. To me, that sounds more like psychic.
Okay, interesting.
To me, a ghost type is something that is dead and is no longer of living, and therefore, if it is dead, if it has raged so much that it has died, it is now possessing an empty vessel which is going to slowly decay. That would be my logical.
Probably why it's grey.
Right, but there's only so much damage that's going to do before it eventually just becomes a dead husk, and therefore will be of no use because it will not be able to hold itself together.
You could say that about any ghost type Pokemon. That logic implies that any ghost type Pokemon should not be able to hold its physical form. It should be weak.
That's the point. They're ghost Pokemon. They don't have a physical form. This says that it possesses its physical form. It possesses its dead body. So the body would decay. The spirit wouldn't. So you would just have a fighting spirit. that is inhabiting a dead body. That's what I mean. The dead body would decay away.
I'm only just realising now that what they've done here with Annihilate is they've made a Revenant Pokemon. This is a Revenant.
Yeah.
This is a Revenant.
I just don't know if Primeape needed an evolution. This feels just tacked on to me. The fact that they've gone right, we've got Fighting Monkey that then evolves into a Fighting Ape, and then we've gone for a Dead Monkey because we wanted a Ghost type. Why?
Yeah.
You know, that's.
So you think maybe the general concept could have worked as a Pokemon, but maybe not as a Primeape evolution. It could have worked as a standalone.
If you just want to put a Fighting Ghost type in, I think you could have just gone with something else, but I feel like it's trying to appeal to both of crowds.
I mean, a prime example, but also Scarlet and Violet added in so many ghost types, like what the hell? Dual ghost types. Where are we? Down the bottom, I think. Ceruledge, also a Revenant Pokemon. It's a ghost possessing armor, but it's got Spirit Fire. You know those sort of will-o-wisp things? It's will-o-wisps. It's a possessed piece of armor.
It just looks like a Digimon.
Yeah, that's fair, but I like it. It's a part of a duo. Armor Rogue, also possessed fire. Two version exclusives. They're very Digimon-esque. Ramblin', Bramble-Ghast, Ghosts, Tumbleweeds.
Okay, that's kind of weird.
Tumbleweed Ghost Pokemon.
Yeah, I could get behind that. Natural creative.
Bramblegrass catches its prey using its branches, completely enveloping them. Once accomplished, it will not let go of the prey until the life energy has been drained from it. Bramblegrass lives in arid regions such as deserts where wind and tumbleweeds roll it around. On rare occasions, outbreaks of Bramblegrass can bury entire towns. Based off tumbleweeds.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I don't know why.
We found a modern Pokemon that Spook likes! Spook likes Brambleghast!
I'm not completely biased against it. To me, it has to make some semblance of sense. I kind of like that. That's
Spook likes Brambleghast! Yeah. So they are rolling around. Little dead bits of plant.
That's spooky, but it's also takes into account nature.
That's what tumbleweeds are. They're kind of semi-dead and they blow all
just
around.
Dead bushes that have kind of fallen off. Yeah, that gets a pass.
Spook likes Brambleghast. I didn't anticipate that.
Show him dead dog.
A dead dog.
It's just going to be something dumb.
Yeah, Scarlet and Violet added in so many ghost types. Brevard and Houndstone. Based off the story of dogs getting buried with their masters. I'm getting that was a sigh of Dead Dog Evo is meh. I agree, Core. Brevard was pretty cute because I like dogs. Houndstone, I'm like, it's fine.
Okay, it's
fine.
Here's the main point that I'm going to make about Ghost Pokemon. Mm-hmm. Right, here's my main. This is Spook's hot take from all. This is for every Ghost Pokemon.
Okay.
Why does a Ghost Pokemon evolve? Evolution is the sign of growth.
Mm-hmm.
A ghost has done its growing and has died.
Mm-hmm.
It does not need to grow. It does not need to change to adapt to become better at a situation. Yeah. It has ran out of its lifeline and it is cleaning
It's
off.
Because even though it's called ghost type, I think in general the implication of something this is just, again, you have your own, this is just a general opinion. I don't know whether it's canon or not, you have your opinion. Your opinion seems to be that ghost type things are actually dead. I think in Pokemon most of the time, something that is ghost type isn't dead, it merely has ghost-like qualities. But it is, right. But it isn't actually a dead ghost. An actual dead ghost is the ghost that you see in Lavender Town's tower, which you need the Sylph scope to reveal. That was an actual dead Pokemon.
Right. The first 3 ghost Pokemon, Ghastly Haunter and Gengar, from the first set of games, were dead. They are actual ghosts. You can only see them with the Sylph scope. They are genuinely the dead spirits of Pokemon. Mischievous is a ghost from the second generation. That is why I sit on the idea that a ghost type is a dead Pokemon.
I feel like that's something that they haven't that they have come away from. I think.
Also, you just said that is a dog based on being buried with their masters.
That's what it's based on. It's not what it actually is. It's still a Pokemon. It's a creature that lives in the world.
Right, but if you're
You find
basing
them in the
something off
wild.
something that has been buried, generally it doesn't last long.
That's what I mean when I say. Again, this is what I mean when I say like ghost type qualities. It's the reason that the people have these Pokemon and will still, for example, like, feed them berries. Like, it's a ghost, why does it need to eat? And it's like, well, it's because it is still in a weird way an animal. It's Pokemon magic kind of thing. It's a weird blending.
To justify this, you have to grasp at a lot of straws and stretch a lot of things to the point that I'm just like, it's too much effort to make this thing work. So
Yeah.
that one gets a pass from me. No. And also just from its design, just the fact that it's got a candle on its head and a big tombstone is just a bit too gimmicky for my liking.
Fair.
I like stuff that looks more natural.
Yeah, the reason that they have candles and tombstones on their head is because of the whole burying underground thing.
Yes.
They dig, because they know the move dig, they dig underground and it pops out of the ground, and the idea is that people come forward to be like, ooh, who lit this candle? And then, blah, ghost.
And then by that logic, you could just put flowers on it. People put flowers on graves. People
Not
put
very-
money on
Yeah,
graves.
not very ghosty though, is it? Again, that's just design speculations, but yeah. It's a weird thing to go for. It's not very clear.
No. We're going back to the list.
We'll go back to the list. There was a suitable tangent that was.
Greavard. It is rumoured that Greavard is the reincarnation of a dog Pokemon that had never interacted with a human and died in the wild. That's
Pokedex entries ain't reliable all the time.
gonna
That's the
say,
problem.
because a dog Pokemon that never interacted with a human, that's just a dog.
That's just a dog.
That's a very specific. You could, yeah. I'll
Can we
read-
show him the
let
wacky
me-
waving? No, we won't, because we're getting too off
Let
topic.
me rewrite that one for you, Dask. Greavard. It is rumoured that Greavard is the reincarnation of a dog Pokemon that never interacted with giraffes and died in the wild. That sentence works exactly the same.
Yeah. But again, it's one of those things of like, well, it's rumoured that it's the reincarnation of a dog Pokemon. How can it be a reincarnation of a dog Pokemon when we know for a fact that Greavard evolves into Houndstone?
There's too many things.
Yeah, when you start to nitpick the minutiae of the Pokemon lore, it will fall apart.
And that is why I don't like it. It requires too much justification just to try and potentially get it into the maybe line. So it's like, why bother?
Yeah.
It's just not there.
Yeah, it's almost like going to Monster Hunter and being like, explain to me how Valhazak is a zombie, and it's like, well, it's not a zombie technically. It has zombie-like stuff because zombies aren't real, kind of thing.
Right, Slowpoke. Well, Ponyta and Rapidash. They get. Oh, we were at Geodude. I didn't even get to Geodude.
Oh, we didn't even get to Geodude because we
I was
went off a
talking
little
about
bit.
Geodude,
We
next
went
up.
off a little bit there.
Right, Graveler and Golem. I'm grand with. I think that is Graveler spelt wrong.
Potentially.
I think it's got 2 L's on there. But anyway.
Yeah,
I copied this from
we
a
skipped
website.
over Tentacle and Tentacruel, but again, they're fine. I
They're
can't think of
squids.
any compliment. Yeah.
They're little squid things,
Yeah.
and they're poison water. I'm
Yeah.
cool with that. They're very, it's understandable.
We'll get to Toadscroll and the other one later because it's technically a different Pokemon.
Can we show him the wacky waving inflatable tube?
I said no because we were going too far off topic.
Explain to me how a skinny monster can have the largest lungs and do actual damage with its roar.
Let me tell you interesting facts about the Tigrex! No, we won't.
Right, so Geodude, the very, very, very small change. Why does it float?
See, the problem is that the moment you say magnetism, you go, why isn't it steel type then?
Yeah, just make it walk on its arms. That to me is cool. I'd dig that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
You'd prefer it to walk on its
it's a
arms?
boulder and it's got some semblance of, you don't even have to necessarily have them as arms with fingers. I guess it's anime, so they do, but you could just have them as just
It's an
rocky appendages.
earthbender, not the same thing. That sounds terrifying.
It's a fucking living rock. If part of a wall can get up and come punch you in the face, you should be scared.
Yeah, Toadscroll. Ow! Don't throw things at me, I'm right.
Ponyta and Rapidash, it's a horse. It's very simple design. I get
Horse,
it.
Hans.
Slowpoke, I'm okay with. I get it. It's like a water sloth.
Yeah, it's essentially a water sloth. It's basic. As I showed earlier when I was like, what's my least favourite water type? Probably Slowbro, but that's just because it's plain, but there's nothing wrong with things being plain. It's just not to my taste.
Right. Slowbro. Right. This is a grievance I have had since the first time I saw Slowbro because it confused the fuck out of me because Pokemon didn't seem to want to know what they wanted to do with it. How'd you get Slowbro?
Oh yeah. I think this is a symptom of its time. Basically,
Yeah.
Pokemon didn't know what it wanted to be. Apparently, to get a Slowbro, you have a Shelder bite a Slowpoke's tail.
Why does it turn into a conch shell?
Yep. Because there was metadata found in a old version of Gold and Silver that had that conch shell as a Pokemon, but it then got removed. So it's a symptom of its time. It needs changing, really, doesn't it?
I think it would be cooler if there was a series of underground water mollusk type Pokemon, such as Shelder. Is it mollusk?
Yeah, it's a mollusk, I believe. Yeah.
Type of oyster and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If there was an array of them, I don't know if there are nowadays. My water knowledge goes probably about as far as Corsola,
there's
and then that's about it.
There's a lot of water Pokemon now.
But yeah, so if there's a series of mollusk type things, I think it would be cool if they just went whole hog and said the Slowbro that you get, its shell is different depending on what Pokemon bites it or something.
They kind of half did that, but not the way that you are. They made variants of Slowbro and Slowking in Sword and Shield, where they had been bitten in different areas because of the whole a Slowbro bitten on the tail is a Slowbro, and a Slowpoke bitten on the head became a Slowking.
Right.
So they made a couple of different ones, which was a Slowbro that had been bitten on the arm, and there was also a Slowking that had like been bitten on the head, but it was a bit weird. So Slowbro. You'll probably grimace at the Slowbro one, which has been bit on the arm. Been bit on the arm. And it becomes a poison type.
Why is it purple?
I believe it's to do with a type of plant that is in...
What the fuck is that?
That's a Mega Evolution. You said you were ignoring it.
Oh, thank God for
Yeah,
that.
it's a Mega Evolution where the entire shell has tried to...
That looks like Patrick had an accident.
It's where the tail has tried to... This thing has tried to eat its entire body. The thing has tried to
Oh,
eat
good,
its...
so something for the Vor people. Wonderful, that's
Oh, dear.
exactly what we need.
In Galar, Galarian Slowpoke's appearance is due to a Shelder biting Galarian Slowpoke's arm instead of its tail, causing a chemical reaction between the Shelder's poison and the consumed Galarica spices. Galarica spices, because in the Galar region, Slowpoke eat Galarica spices, which give them a yellowish tint. In the same way that like a flamingo eating shrimp turns pink, this is the other way around in that these Slowpoke eat these yellow flowers and it turns them yellow. So when it gets bitten, the poison in the Shelder reacts with the yellow tint and makes it go purpley. That's why it's purple.
But why doesn't normal Slowbro?
Because this is a Galarian Slowbro, so the Galarian spices are in Galar. So a normal Slowbro that lives in the Kanto region doesn't eat these flowers. So when a Shelder bites it, the reaction doesn't happen. So it's to do with their diet. So I think the logic behind it is sound.
I actually kind of like that.
The logic behind it is sound.
I am all for there being various different types of Slowbro based on what Pokemon bit them. Yeah, I'm okay with that actually. That sounds kind of cool. That's imaginative. I kind of like that.
So
it gets a pass.
Yeah, the Slowpoke in Galar have a different diet, which gives them this yellow hue, and because they get bitten on the arm, because they're reaching into the water to pull out these plants rather than fishing with their tail, they reach into the water to pull out the plants to eat them. They get bitten on the hand, and it reacts with it and makes it go poisonous.
I kind of like that. Yep, I genuinely do kind of like that. That's kind of cool.
So that's a Galarian Slowbro. Slowking. Again, it's been bitten on the head, so it's still a Slowking, but we've still had the reaction with the poison because of these plants. So again, it's tried to eat like the entire thing, and this weird reaction has happened with these plants that has caused this purple Hugh?
I think the main issue I've got with that is probably just with Slowking.
Yeah, you're not a fan of Slowking in general.
I just don't know what's so different about it. I know it's a psychic. Well, they're both psychic, aren't they? So it's like, why? It just, to me, it would seem like Slowbro should just be a Slowpoke that has been bitten by a water shell Pokemon, and they're all Slowbros, but just depends on where they get bit, just changes how they look. That's how I would do it. So a Slowking would just be an alternate version of Slowbro.
Yeah, in the same way that this is still a Slowbro, it's just got it on its arm instead of its tail. Okay.
I don't feel that there's a need to specify a different breed of Pokemon.
Yeah. I think the reason is because in this, their reasoning is that being bitten on the head is like causing, again, because of the poison, which is, it's interesting that they keep bringing up Shelder's poison, because Shelder doesn't really have poison, but they keep bringing it up. Biting on its head is like affecting its brain, which is what causes it to sort of become, I guess in a way, become smarter if you take the Slowking in the anime by any comparison. But yeah, I've literally just realised that now. It's weird that they keep mentioning poison because Shelder is not a poison type.
Not specifically.
Shelder's poison.
Yeah, it's not specifically a poison. I mean, I do think it learns poison moves, but when you think Shelder, you don't go, poison.
Look,
obviously.
They put all of the Slowbros on Shelder's page. So, tail, arm, body, head, and head.
Anyway, should we get back to the list? Or just want to quickly see if there's any...
It learns top 6. It learns one poison type move!
I know Cloyster gets a few, like, poison sting and stuff, but it's just, again, it's just one of them of, like, when I think of Shelder, I don't think of poison. Tentacle, yeah, like a jellyfish. Should we get back to the list?
Let's get back to the list.
So, Farfetch'd.
Yeah. I'm quite pleased that we're actually learning a few things. We're learning that there's some Gen 1 Pokemon that Spook's not a fan of, but we've actually found some modern Pokemon that Spook doesn't mind.
Waiting for a leg bite one that turns it
into a mech or a pirate.
Doesn't surprise me. Magnemite and Magneton, they go to yellow.
They're fine.
I quite like them, but only on the basis that they were made by people.
Mm-hmm.
That is the little caveat that I will put next to the
So you think if people start to twist the law to try to make them creatures, you actually don't like that?
Yeah, if you want to try and say to me that these are just things that naturally occur, I think the visual design of them, with the fact that they have like actual red and blue magnets on them and screws, I was like, well, how did that just get made? That's the whole point of, we created screws in order to bind things together. So it's like the fact that they just exist out there in the world seems a bit dumb. But if you say that someone was messing about and they were like, gee, I wonder if I can make something, and then they, either Team Rocket or some dude who knows too much about messing about with the gene pool and whatnot, and then makes something like Magnemite and Magneton, then that's, a cool, like Porygon, they're Pokemon that have come way later in the evolutionary line, in the timeline.
Yes.
I think that's a good backstory for them, but just naturally, not a fan.
Fair enough.
Farfetch'd is cool. I feel like he's a little underrated.
Yeah.
A duck that goes around and it's like, I need a way of defending myself, just picks up like vegetables and beats the crap out of stuff.
And the origin of his name is funny to me, because Farfetch'd, obviously for us in English, Farfetch'd is something that seems a bit, that seems a bit far-fetched, like a little bit too good to be true. The reason is because something seems far-fetched isn't a term in Japanese. They might say, it seems, if something is too good to be true, it's like a duck bearing a spring onion, which is a duck is bringing a spring onion for it to be cooked in, which is why Farfetch'd is a duck carrying a spring onion. It's literally it's literally like a walking pun or a walking saying.
Okay.
So that's the origin of Farfetch'd. We're going down the rabbit hole again because Game Freak can't leave Gen 1 alone, and I feel obligated to bring them to Spook's attention because we otherwise wouldn't get to see them.
What am I looking at now?
This is a Galarian Farfetch'd. That's a regular Farfetch'd. This is a Galarian Farfetch'd, which is fighting type and uses its leek more like an actual weapon. Like it's got a bigger leek because Galar grow larger leeks in their more fertile soil, I believe is the story.
Okay.
It's more aggressive.
Adapted to the
Yep.
terrain.
Yep.
Yeah,
A Galarian Farfetch'd evolves into Sirfetch'd because it is England, so we have got a knight bearing a shield and a sword.
Too gimmicky.
That one, yep. I figured that one wouldn't go down well.
It's too gimmicky. I'll accept creatures picking up stuff to hit things with, but at that point you might as well just give him a friggin' steed and some armour.
It is said that a Sirfetch'd evolution was attained by a Farfetch'd who experienced and survived many battles. Sirfetch'd is known to be calm and collected, preferred to fight fairly. Due to its noble nature, Sirfetch'd often seen as a motif for paintings. One famous painting in Galar region shows Sirfetch'd dueling in Scavalier. That's funny. It's England versus France. The leek it carries is its most prized possession. It's used as both a weapon and food and is maintained for years.
Sir, I have a question.
Once the leek is withered, the Sirfetch'd will retire from battle for good.
Once the leek finally... So it has... Hang on. How can it survive many battles when it eats its own sword, thus rendering its own weapon crap?
Yeah.
How long does it take for a duck to eat a leek and then for it to
counterintuitive,
wither
isn't it?
away?
Yeah. There's the like Galarian Farfetch'd.
I'll give the Galarian one. That's just adapting to, there's bigger stuff here, so they're going to be somewhat stronger.
Yeah,
I'll
in
give
Galar,
that a pass,
Farfetch'd
but-
has a slightly different look. A Galarian Farfetch'd is a deeper shade of brown with a more prominent black mark on its head. The leek it carries with its wings is much larger in Galar than the leeks that Farfetch'd can find in other regions.
Yeah, the gag of the Pokemon is that it's a duck that comes, with its own dinner. Don't show him the Paradox Magnemite. Is that freaking awful thing that you showed me before?
I don't like this. Pokemon Sandy Shocks. Now, I need to stipulate that we don't know the lore reason behind these because the DLC has not been released. Because I think that the DLC will give us more of an explanation for these. Because we don't really have an explanation for them. That's not a good expression. It's not a good expression on his face. I don't really like it. I don't like it.
I've been less offended by Rule 34 stuff that I've seen of Pokemon than I have some of these.
It's just a Magnemite that's got the iron filings attached to it. It's just that ferrous.
It's amazing how it's both lazy and annoying.
Yeah.
Next.
Cool. No,
So-
we haven't really got anything to say on that.
Not really anything to say, if I'm honest. Doduo and Dodrio.
I kind of like them.
One thing that I would like to change.
Mhm.
Just one.
Uh-huh.
Just one small thing.
One small thing.
I'm going to give them a green.
Oh, okay.
Why is it that after... How many generations are we on now? 9?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that in the 9 generations that they've been churning out such crap Pokemon, have we not had a little baby Do Uno? Why? Why have we not
It
had
was
one-headed Do Uno?
removed from Gold and Silver, and I'm so mad about it. You know when they had all the baby Pokemon in Gold and Silver?
Yeah.
They found a let me see if I can find it. Beta Gold and Silver Pokemon. Let me see if I can find them. Is this the image? Hang on. It's taking forever to load.
It's a view image.
Why is this taking forever? Hang on.
Trying to click on a lower image.
This one? No. Open image in a new tab. That doesn't look like what I'm looking for. It's also very blurry, so it's very hard to see. Gold and Silver Beta. No, this isn't the one I'm looking for. But yeah, there was someone found a Gold and Silver demo that was like in a show or something,
Alright.
and it had a lot of like sprites for unreleased Pokemon, which yeah, this is all the modern Pokemon demo. So there you go. So demo. Cyndaquil. God, why couldn't I say it? Yeah, it was a little fire bear. That got changed. Totodile was totally different. Let's move this over now. So there's a beta Noctowl.
Clearly inspired by Legend of Zelda.
Yep.
With no nick.
What we think was maybe a pre-evolution and then second stage of Tangela.
Okay.
A baby Vulpix we think that has 3 tails, so it goes 3, 6, 9.
Huh?
Maybe a Quillfish evolution. Beta Pichu, Beta Cleffa, Beta Igglybuff, Beta Quagsire, Natu. A baby Goldeen, we think? Marrow.
I can see why some of those got cut, because it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if everything necessarily needs a baby evolution.
Fish.
Some sort of, yeah.
Some fish. Baby Paris, little guy living in a mushroom.
Again, don't think that one's necessary.
They were going to do a Ditto 2. And then this was the beta of a Doduo chicken and nest, is what it was going to be.
Okay,
I don't know why they gave it extra heads, but apparently in the data, that's what it was like tied to. It was tied to Doduo.
I think that would have raised more questions if they'd released a triple-headed baby.
Scrapped Doduo pre-evolution. Essentially a chick with 3 heads whose fuzz is a nest.
Yeah, that would have raised too many questions for me of like, where does the 3rd head go when it evolves then? I'd have just been like, why? But I'd, just having a little like body and a head on just a little...
Oh, this is cute for anybody who watched Infinite Fusion on Sunday. We saw this. The Sunflora Diglett fusion is just this guy. That's a cute little reference. The Sunflora Diglett fusion is just this guy. Old Girafarig was a proper palindrome. It was two heads.
Yeah, I understand why they changed that. It's a little too freaky.
Wobbuffet changed a lot.
Well, there was speculation, if I remember that video correctly, that wasn't Wobbuffet.
A baby Meowth. Baby Meowth. Baby. Little coins.
See, again, I don't know if that needs to be a baby Pokemon, or if you could just have a young Meowth. It's only just been born. It doesn't need to be a separate.
A cat with a bell that got cut. Politoed. Did a Politoed look different?
I don't like Politoed.
That's fair. See, this is what I'm getting at. This is what I got at with Poliwhirl and Poliwrath, though. Is that this is more frog-like. Slowking kind of looks the same. Oh no, the same. Ledian, probably a better improvement. Tiny Ponyta, it's just a Ponyta, but small. Didn't need it, which is probably why they cut it. There you go. There's the Shell to Shell. So it was going to be a Pokemon.
Okay.
Again, a baby Grimer. Not needed. Remoraid looked a lot more like a gun, and Octillery looked a lot more like a tank. This is what I get at when I tell people that Remoraid is a gun. Remoraid is a gun. It's just not as clear in the modern iteration. Yeah, it's meant. That's what they're meant to be. Octillery is meant to be artillery. That's what it's meant to be.
Anyway, let's get back to the list. So, I would have liked to have seen a baby Doduo because I just think it would have made sense for 1, 2, 3 of all the Pokemon. Seal and Dugong, they get a pass. Grimer and Muck. Now, I was talking about these ones with you in the car. I would actually say that these are probably the first non-passes.
Say, pass. We do not need Grimer and Muck.
I can't envision that they occur naturally, and I can't envision that someone just created living sludge. I don't see that someone would have looked at just some goo on the floor and said, I'm going to experiment on that and I'm going to turn it into something.
I think the lore is that it's basically because of pollution, it came into existence from, which again is again part of this lore that Game Freak won't talk about of this magic in the world, which is infinity energy. This is the thing that I keep saying whenever we talk about it, of yes, Pokemon does have magic, they just won't say it. It's called infinity energy.
Is that because quantum is too hard for them to spell?
Probably, yes.
Right. Well, I'm sorry, but Grimer and Muck, if you are a big fan of Grimer and Muck,
Get out of here.
Eh,
Get out of
I
here.
can't justify them being in the world. They don't make sense to me from a natural angle or from a man-made angle. Unless, as you say, the world is just full of magic energy. But if there's magic energy in the world, why doesn't everything turn into a Pokemon? That, then that becomes too much for me. Why does some crap that's dribbled out of the sewers? What is it made of? Feces? Is it made of toxic sludge? Is it made of just anything? Rainwater? What is it?
Yeah.
It's too indistinct. So they get a pass. I'm afraid. Sorry. The first hard pass that I've got. So Shelter and Cloister. I like them. Cool. It's just shell Pokemon.
First blood.
First blood. Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar. Get a yellow.
Your favourites?
Yes.
Really?
Get a yellow.
Oh my goodness! Groundbreaking.
Yeah, Spook Do-Uno, Do-Duo, Do-Trio. Yeah, that's what I said, Do-Uno.
Do-Uno.
Or Duno.
Duno, yeah. It'd be very cool in Arceus if we had a pre-pollution Muck and Grimer. What they were before the world got polluted, I guess that could have been interesting. Because then you could have evolutionarily followed the line. Like, we talked about this in the car, Spook's not a fan of it. I like the fact that there is a Hisuian Voltorb that is grass type, because Pokeballs back then were made from apricorns and thus were made from, like, plant material.
Do I need to cover the Voltorb thing?
No, we can cover the Voltorb thing when we get to Voltorb. It'll happen very quickly, I'm sure.
Okay.
Hi, Balshan! We're going over Pokemon! Spook has opinions!
I have opinions. I'm an old man and you will not like my opinions, and therefore do not listen to them and have fun with your game.
Psst.
It's just me.
No, keep watching the stream, ignore him.
Oh yeah, keep watching the stream, but don't listen to what I say and go, oh, my game is ruined and I am done for thinking it. You're allowed to enjoy the game. It's just, this is why I look at the game and I go, I don't
because again, I keep talking about infinity energy because it's a theory that I really like, but it sounds like it's a theory that Spook doesn't like. Spook apparently doesn't like the idea of there just being magic floating around in the Pokemon universe.
It just sounds too wishy-washy.
It is very wishy-washy.
Why does this happen? Magic.
Magic.
Oh, what a great explanation.
Yeah. Why do they have the power to have all this technology that can literally shrink, mash, and teleport things? Infinity energy.
So, cool. And what do you use this infinity energy on? Battles.
Pokemons.
I made a gym badge and it looks like a fire. Wee. Define old. I remember a time where Pokemon did not exist. I also remember the time when Pokemon did not exist because I am old. I am 30. Nearly 1. I'm a very old man. Not as old as Core, but Core was there at the dawn of television, so... I'm older. 30. 31 weeks. Sad boomer noises indeed. 1991.
Belgium, don't post your butt. Jesus, public safety. Internet safety.
I mean, it's not hard to reverse calculate, love. He tells us he's 31.
Yeah, but you don't need to
we
post.
know when his birthday is. It'd be very easy to reverse calculate that one. I know it's math, and math scares you, love, but we could all work that out.
It's just internet safety, okay?
He's not shared his name and his address, and his
Good.
national insurance number and stuff. I'm a little past 10 years older than you. Yes, Cora's a very old man. But anyway, back to the list. So, I have, and this is going back to the ghost Pokemon thing.
Okay.
I have what I feel would be a more interesting theory for the Ghastly evolution one.
Okay. So, we talked about ghosts a lot in depth. You are of the opinion that ghost Pokemon should be dead things.
Yes. That to me makes sense. They are ghosts.
Yes. But by your own mouth, that means they shouldn't be able to evolve.
They shouldn't be able to evolve, correct.
Which is interesting because your favourite is a mid-evolution.
Yes. I think it would be cooler, right, if the Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar line, they were 3 separate Pokemon that represented the 3 different parts of the body when you die.
Mm-hmm.
With Gengar being the most humanoid, being the shadow of your former self.
Mm-hmm.
Haunter being the spirit that still clings to the world with its clingy hands. And Ghastly being the soul. So when a creature passes on, they leave behind these 3 parts of themselves that all work together in conjunction with one another, but are all separate.
That's interesting. That's pretty cool. That's a cool interpretation.
A little different.
It is a bit different.
Because then they're not getting stronger and growing into one another. They have already lived their life and passed on, and they are now the remnants left behind, having passed on.
Just for curiosity's sake, how do you make them distinct mechanically in a game? Because obviously, Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar, it's the very simple thing of, well, statistically, Gengar is stronger than Haunter, Haunter is stronger than Ghastly, so you want to evolve so you can get the better stats and the better moves.
Mm-hmm.
If they are these individual Pokemon and they have somewhat similar stats so that it's balanced, how do you make it that somebody picks a Ghastly over a Haunter or a Haunter over a Gengar? How do you define them?
Well, the easiest way of doing it is you take the Ghastly and you take the Gengar.
Thank you for raiding!
Isn't he from Final Fantasy VI? What?
Hello! Hi! Thank you for raiding in. I've seen we've been interacting on Twitter. Hi!
You shouldn't have come here. I'm making people sad.
We are having opinions on Pokemon tonight.
Oh, no.
Welcome to the stream. Hello, raiders. Welcome on in. Welcome on in.
Am I going to upset some of your friends?
Might do.
Oh,
might upset people. Hello. I hope you've been having a wonderful time. What have you been up to? I'm working on some textures for 3D, but I keep getting distracted like every 10 seconds because we are talking about Pokemon, and Pokemon is my specialist topic. So we're having a great conversation.
And I am old, and Pokemon was the building blocks on what turned me into who I am.
Yeah.
Another Skywolf?
Yeah!
Oh my god, there's more of them.
Ow! Go and have fluffy friends descending from the sky. Well, we're still in the sky.
What's your Pokemon hot take? I hate Pokemon.
No!
I don't hate Pokemon.
No!
A lot of modern Pokemon irk me.
Yeah. Spook's most recent hot takes, I think, from the stream have been Mega Pokemon should not exist. You can see our little table in the top above me, which is Spook's screen, where they're giving stuff a pass or a fail. Grimer and Muck have been given an absolute fail. They need to be removed from the series. And Spook is currently talking through the yellow of Ghastly and Haunter and Gengar, which is interesting because Haunter is Spook's favourite Pokemon, and he's explaining how he thinks they should stay in the series, but with a slight tweak. Mega was the best thing ever, not according to Spook.
Right. Okay. For all the people that have just joined us, right? let me put this in a very simple way, right? 1996, Pokemon Red and Blue were released in English-speaking countries, right? Team Rocket's goal from that date was to create ultimate Pokemon that were fighting machines.
Yes.
What does a Mega Stone force a Pokemon to do?
It forces its power to increase at great physical cost to the Pokemon.
And turns it into a fighting machine, correct? So if you are playing a modern game and you use these Mega Stones, you are forcing your Pokemon to turn into a fighting machine. Ergo, you are fulfilling Team Rocket's plan. Well done, you've just joined a pyramid scheme. That is my hot take. That is my hot take. Why do Grimer and Muck not get a pass? Because they're not feasible to exist.
Okay, yeah. Spook's stipulation for Pokemon is that he thinks Pokemon should be creatures.
Be creatures or have been made. Because I think something that has been made is also a cool background story. But for Grimer and Muck, it's like a bunch of crap just came into existence and decided to one day to, like, I'm gonna breathe. What the hell is a Grimer and a Muck?
He must have climbed through this window and fell through the floor and disintegrated into a pile of crap.
Well, from what I've seen, Grimer and Muck come out of sewage.
Yes.
So when I take a crap, it somehow gains sentience when it joins up with a lot of other crap underground.
Yeah.
And then becomes a Pokemon that I go, I want to get that back. No, I crapped it out to get rid of it.
I crapped it out to get rid of it.
I didn't crap in a jar and keep it for later. What is it? It's toxic sludge and poop. Why would you hold on to that? This is why I get to pass, right? Magnemite and Magneton, I was willing to say yes, they could exist because someone could have made them out of the stuffing they've got in their science lab. But unless some like new freaking intern that was being underpaid is like, I'm going to take a shit on company time and went to the loo with an experiment and then accidentally dropped it into the toilet with him and went, oh no, what have I done? Millions of pounds of stuff. Well, I can't tell anyone. And then it turned into a Pokemon. He's like, ta-da, I made something. I'm going to name it. Like, no, it just wouldn't have existed. That's dumb.
Crying.
Stop crying. What's wrong with you?
It's so funny.
It's not funny. It's dumb.
It's funny how you're going off on one. What's your take on my favourite Pokemon, Eevee? We're getting there.
We're getting there.
We're working through the list.
We're getting there.
We're working through the list. Throw cheese in there. Don't throw things at me.
Right, but to show
I'm
that
not the one ranting.
To show that I'm not just here to shit on Pokemon, no Grimer pun intended, but to show that I actually I like the series and I like the stuff, we're addressing my favourite Pokemon.
Yeah, ow! I said don't throw things at me.
Oh my god, you're doing the whole... We're going to do as much of the list as we can before I have to go.
Yes. We're gonna go. Okay, so for all the new people who just came in with the raid, hello, thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying this absolute crazy time that we're having here. Ow!
More balls.
Go through. Explain again. Go again once more. Why you have put yellow on your favorite Pokemon? Why have you put yellow on your favorite Pokemon?
So, ghost types are my favorite Pokemon, as you can probably tell from the name.
Spook, yes.
I like ghosts. I like the idea of ghosts. They're just, I just think they're kind of cool. Not in a real world situation. I don't believe ghosts actually exist. I just think ghosts are cool in fantasy things because ghosts are always stronger versions of the real thing. But anyway, I don't think that ghost Pokemon should evolve because evolution is something that living things do. They adapt and they become better to suit their environments, whereas ghosts are things that have already had their life, they have passed on, and they now just exist eternally, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only way they kind of get stronger is just a better understanding of themselves, which I feel is what a level represents. They get more used to their powers and abilities, but they don't develop into something new, because otherwise that then leads the idea of there's something after death.
Uh-huh.
So why don't dead Pokemon then go on and then die or reborn and come into another line? So you have stage 1 to 3, die, stage 1 to 3 again, something else happens, stage 1 to 3, and you just keep cycling through. That's what Digimon do.
Yes.
They keep going up and down their little web that they've got. So ghost Pokemon, I don't feel like they should evolve. So I thought it would be a better, or not better, but to me it's cooler if Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar, being the first 3 ghost Pokemon, represent the parts of you as a being when you die. Because Gengar is the most, bipedal looking. It's the one that looks like it has the most physical form.
Mm-hmm.
It would represent the shadow of your body, your material self. Haunter would represent your spirit clinging to the world, because that's why it's got grabby hands, and that's why it infests your dreams and stuff. It is your spirit that has held onto the world. And then Ghastly would be your soul, because it has that sort of gaseous form around, like a kind of Poe soul around it.
Uh-huh.
So when something dies, it leaves behind all 3 elements of this that all work together because they're all part of the same soul, but they are their own individual things.
You can tell that Spook's thought a lot about this, haven't you?
It's my favourite Pokemon, and when you question them, you then start to think about them a lot more.
Yeah,
trying to justify to myself, well, why should I like a Pokemon that I feel kind of partially doesn't make sense, and that's why.
The difference between you and me is astounding. Also, thank you for liking my redeems. Does anybody have the good boy? You have my permission to unleash the good boy because I was about to bring him up.
I have the good boy.
My favourite is the good boy. Release the good boy! Ow! Release the good boy. My favourite Pokemon is Arcanine, and that's why me and Spook are very different, because I like Arcanine because dog. Dog. There we go. Carry on.
Anyway, where was I? Well, yeah, that was kind of it.
That was kind of it. Okay.
That was kind of it.
Okay. No, I really like it.
I would also change Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar to get rid of the poison type.
Yeah, you don't
because
want
they put that in, I feel, as a meta thing.
Yes.
Because it was the first Ghost Pokemon, and it was like, well, normal types can't do anything to it, so they needed to give it something where it would have a disadvantage. So, to me, giving them poison, I feel like it makes a massive amount of sense. I can't really say that there's any, massively poisoning moves that they get outside of what a lot of Pokemon get.
Yeah,
So,
it's not what they're renowned for, really. Arcanine is the only real legendary Pokemon. Prove me wrong. Well, I can't. It's right there. Legendary Pokemon. Can't argue. Straight facts.
oh my god,
A baby!
it's an insurance fraudster.
Hello.
Hello, Gremlin.
Hello, baby. Can I get a wow in chat, please? A free emote that you can have, so long as you're following me. Meow. Hello, child. Mwah.
What's the matter, Gremlin?
Oh, are you upset because we've not been paying attention to you? Oh.
Just come in to tell Dad it's bedtime. It's not bedtime. I've got to shout at the internet.
Wow, look at the wows in chat.
Oh
Look,
my
baby.
God, millions of wows.
Look at baby.
You're famous.
That's you.
Or infamous.
That's you. Mwah. Who's a good baby? Meow. She makes some awful noises. Look at all the wows. Oh, we love it. We love it. Thank you so much.
Right. So yeah, post in chat. What do you think of my ghost theory? Do you think that's cool? Do you think that's dumb? I don't know. Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yes.
What do we think?
Because you've heard mine. My opinion is that I actually think that's a really cool idea. I'm trying to find a picture of Sadie for people to see. I forgot about that.
Release him.
Free him. I forgot about that. I'm trying to find a picture of Sadie to show people.
Small Gremlin is plausible. I gotta go catch some Z's, but have a fun stream. Thank you, Gao.
Thanks, Go, and thank you for the raid. Thank you.
I think you have bad Pokemon takes. Justified.
Hey, thumbs up. Ow.
Justified.
Thanks for the save.
Must be off to bed. Night all. Have fun. Thanks for being here, Stanji, emotionally.
Bye, Stanji.
But it's okay to have differing opinions. It is.
Yeah.
It is. That's what makes it fun. Because I can say I like this, and then you can like something else, and it's still fine. This is just my take on it, because Haunter's my favourite Pokemon, so I like to come up with cool stuff for them. Calm down now.
If anything, the fact that you love something makes it better that you can critique it, because it shows that you're capable of, subjectively thinking about something without being blinded by the whole, well, it's my favourite, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
I think it's commendable that you can see the flaws in something despite loving it. Here we go. I found a great picture of the gremlin. Look at this little baby glaring at you.
Yeah.
This is my kitty. She's the one who goes, wow. And she's so grumpy, but she's so soft. And she's having a cuddle from her dad. Mwah. Yeah? You're a good child. She's a little gremlin. See? Kids today, she's a little gremlin. That's what we call her. She's Sadie the gremlin. Little baby. She's my child. Meow. No, she's having a little cuddle. There we go. Okay, Onyx.
Onyx. Onyx.
Oh, Onyx. Right.
I'm going to give it a yellow.
Yellow. Okay, what's your problem with Onyx?
I feel like Onyx should be way stronger than it actually is.
Yeah, I agree to that.
It's like 1,000,000 foot tall in every iteration. You never see a baby Onyx, this like little rattlesnake's discarded shed skin that's just rolling around the floor. It's always massive. And then it's like, oh, water gun, and a bit of water hits, and it goes, oh no, where? Oh, fuck, and it falls over and dies. Like, what? Really feel like it should be.
It was very lackluster, wasn't it?
It like close to the realms of a legendary Pokemon. It's a giant fucking snake made of rock. I feel like it should just be ridiculously, tough. But
that's fair. Yeah, it's especially in Gen 2, they added Steelix as if they almost knew that Onyx wasn't strong enough.
Yeah. So that would be my one.
I'm analysing Monster Energy drink meanwhile.
Drowsy and Hypno. Drowsy and Hypno. Well, Drowsy gets a green, and Hypno I'm going to give a yellow. Lose the Hypno coin.
You don't like the pendulum?
I don't like anything where a Pokemon is apparently born or it is necessary for them to have something that is obviously man-made.
Okay.
Like Machamp having a belt, Alakazam having a spoon.
Okay.
You take those elements away from them, more plausible as Pokemon. But when it's like, oh, this guy carries a toaster. It's like, why? An animal wouldn't just be born into the world with that, and it's not going to go, oh Christ, I've been born, I better go and find a freaking Woolworths and go,
Why a Woolworths?
because this was set in the 90s. I've got to go and find a Woolworths because I need a spoon, otherwise no one's going to believe I'm an Alakazam. It's like, get rid of the spoon, get rid of that. It's a bit dumb, but the rest of it, this kind of anteater thing that goes around hypnotizing people, I like that. That's cool. I can dig that. So Pokemon with clothes are mostly a deal breaker. Yeah, if it happens to be born with clothes, I'm going to be like, why? That's what fur is for.
Yeah, that's valid.
Clothes are made out of fur. You can't just skip the middleman here. Because then what would happen if you got Pokemon that was born with clothes and you killed it and skinned it?
Why would you say that?
Well, that's what you do to animals. So what would happen then? Would you have a fabric that is made of clothes? So would it be clothes squared?
Wait, they had Woolworths in Australia? What?
Did Woolworths move? Did Woolworths abandon us?
Wait, I was blindsided!
I am also UK, so I know of the Woolies. Yes, anyone who is around the age of 30 will remember the times of the Woolworths.
You can't blindside me with an Arcanine!
A wild curse appeared.
You can't blindside me with an Arcanine! I was distracted by Woolworths! Hi, friend, how was Panic? Or are you still there?
What's Curl's favourite Pokemon?
Ninetales.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, that gets it. That's fine. I was hoping you'd say something else that I could shit on, but
no, Ninetales is good, baby.
Ninetales.
Good
She
bean.
just left in can't hear, but love you.
We like Ninetales.
That's how you get tinnitus.
That's how you get tinnitus, yeah. Can I confirm they exist in Australia, but not in America? Well, they don't exist in England anymore.
Well, Core remembers them, so there was a time way back in the yonders. Talk to you later, girls.
Stop being so mean to me.
Right, moving on. Krabby and Kingler. I like Krabby and Kingler. It's just
It's
big
a crab.
Fucking crab.
It's time for crab.
Here we go. Right, time for some more anger. Time for more opinions. Right, because we talked about this in the car, didn't we? Voltorb, and then it's got on here. Even though I'm not doing Hisuians because this is the Gen 1 Pokedex, so they can fuck off. Go away, stupid Rose. Right, Voltorb and Electrode.
I'm not a fan, really.
I was wondering what you were writing. I thought you were typing an apology to the stream.
No,
so I'm
writing stupid flavor text because I've got to write the back of a Monster Energy can, but obviously not the actual back of a Monster Energy can. So I'm writing Lorem Ipsum, which is basically just filler text. It's going to be a tiny thing on the screen. So instead of writing that word for word, I'm just writing my own flavor text, which I've literally put here, which is, hi, thanks for reading the back of the can. I don't know what to write here. If you like this, maybe follow my socials. That's what people say, right?
Fair enough.
Because it's going to be a VR chat can prop that people can pick up. So if they're having so much fun in VR chat that they're reading the back of a drinks can, then there you go. I don't know what else to write.
Oh, we got here then. Crab-Rave, yeah. I love Kingler and Krabby. Even in the Pokemon Stadium ones, I loved them in there with the little sideways.
Time for crab.
So still do love that I always get sad on your model when you get hit with things.
Yeah, stop hitting me with things, guys.
Saying it now, Krabby Kingler were my favourite water type till for Alligator. I can see that. I can understand that. They were simple, but they were cool. How long has this conversation been going on for? How long have we been streaming for?
2 hours and 10 minutes.
So probably around sort of an hour and 50 minutes. I've been ranting about Pokemon.
It's been fun. I love the Totodile line. So do I. I love Totodile. They're good boys.
Battle as old as time. I think Voltorb, Electrode are super boring, but being super boring doesn't mean they don't qualify as Pokemon.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I like Voltorb and Electrode. I think are boring, but I don't think that makes them bad, which is why I'm like, they're mid.
Nah, the reason for me that they would get a yellow is because going just from the Magnemite and Magneton thing of being man-made, I could buy if you said to me that someone was messing about with Pokeballs, trying to figure out what they could do with the technology, and they turned them into Pokemon, I could go, yeah, okay, I could see that. People do weird shit all the time, and it's like, why are we messing about with that? Because I could.
Yeah.
I get that. So I'd give them a pass.
I think literally before Hisuian Voltorb was a thing, it was a very popular fan theory that a Voltorb was a Pokeball that was possessed by a Haunter because they had the same eyes.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was the theory.
It's a dumb theory, though.
Okay. Totodile is my favourite starter. Mine too!
I do like Totodile. Totodile's sick. Oh, crap. It's Eevee hour. Eevee time. Love Eevee. We haven't got to Eevee yet. Eevee's a while away.
It's Eevee hour in Pokemon Go in America. The Eevee hour has been and gone here in England. Okay. Definitely go Nana Night. Night, girl! Thank you for the raid!
Night.
Sleep well!
Love that genetic hot mess. Yeah. Oh, I have to open go. Everyone wants the Eevees.
Get the Eevees.
Execute and Executor.
See, Execute is probably my least favourite grass type, but again, it's one of those things where it's like, I get what it's attempting to accomplish, I just find it weird that, given that they are meant to be seeds, that they decided to call it Execute. For eggs. Like, and
they come from a palm tree, which is like coconuts. And it's like, one of them is cracked open and has a yellow inside to imply that it is an egg, except it's not an egg, it's a seed. And I'm like, you're getting your designs mixed up here, I feel. Alolan Executor is better? Oh my goodness. This is where I have to educate Spook again. I'm going to say no to Execute, but I will give a yes to Executor.
This is where I have to... not an Executor of a state, Executor the Pokemon. Egg-Utor. This is where I have to educate Spook, because he hasn't played any games past Gen 4, and he doesn't know what an Alolan Executor looks like. Which is, hi, what happens when an Executor is in a hotter environment and gets more sunlight? It grows super, super tall. There you go. That's your lot. It's from Hawaii, so it got lots of sunlight and grew super, super tall. Whereas, despite popular opinion that base Executor is based off a palm tree, it actually isn't. I believe it's based off a baobab tree? Which is probably going to be down in the trivia, maybe. Jiminju. Yucca plant, is it that one? No, it's not that one. Is it a baobab? I can't remember now. Desert palm. It's not going to be... It's not that one. Is it a baobab? Baobab tree. Yeah, it's slightly more based off trees like this, which is why he's so chunky.
Okay. See, I don't know if I hate the Alolan variant. I feel like it's potentially a tad too tall.
Yes, that was a bit of a meme at one point of it being super tall, especially in Pokemon Go when they added Alolan Executor. It was so tall that it went off your screen.
If it was just a thinner based, taller one, I could get that, because again, it's just a regional difference. I could go along with that.
Pray for shiny, sending shiny prayers.
What we got?
But yeah, it's just one of those things of like, everybody looked at Executor in Gen 1 and went, it's a palm tree, and the devs quietly went, no, it's not.
Electrode should have been a great ball. That would have been quite funny, actually. I like that.
The shiny of Electro should be great balls. They are, aren't they? They're blue, right? They should. Anyway.
Execution live on stream. Love that goofy thing. So many Eevees to go. At Spook, Alolan Executor is a dragon.
Yes. Because Latin.
That explained less.
Alolan Executor. This was the thing that a Lockstin video had to explain to me. Alolan Executor is dragon type because Latin. Because, I believe it says right here, Alolan Executor most resembles a coconut tree or tropical palm tree. The dragon typing is a reference to the Dracena genus of tree, in which palm trees are found. That's it. It's a dragon tree, because it's Dracena. Because dragon.
Let me put into perspective why that is dumb.
It's valid. It's very dumb. It's very
So, because some people looked at a tree
Jaquina Draco.
and said that looks like a dragon tree, that has then diverged into different trees, it has gained a physical type of damage known as dragon.
It's very dumb. It's very dumb.
So by that logic then, could you just name everything after dragons and make every Pokemon dragon type?
It may also be a pun inspired by the Coca, which is a dragon whose name shares the origin with the word coconut.
I'm going to go with no.
No! No!
Just going to put that one out. I'm going to go with no.
So we're going to go with a no.
I'm going to go with a no on that one.
It's a very silly Pokemon.
Spook 40k Orc logic. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Got a shiny Tyrocrum egg. Nice! I also have a shiny Tyrocrum egg. See, I'm not getting a lot of work done tonight because I'm just very invested in this Pokemon discussion. This doesn't normally happen, I should say. Spook normally has to go to bed because he's normally in work, but he has actually got tomorrow off. So he has the day off, and thus I have roped him into my stream. And now we're talking about Pokemon, which is great.
Right.
Oh, here we go. Time to offend someone.
We're gonna upset some people now. People are going to be upset now.
Time to offend people.
Anyone who's watching knows what number we're at. We're at number 104 and 105 in the Pokedex, I believe. Is that correct? I could never do an art stream because I get distracted so easily. So does Blue.
So do I, but I still do art streams all the same. I made this yesterday. This was a blank file yesterday. I made this from scratch. So I got that done in one sitting. But the texture, as you can see, has taken me all night, and I've not gotten very far with it because I'm distracted. But honestly, I do more art when I stream than when I don't stream. Because if I don't stream, I'm not held accountable to it, and I get none of it. Nice, I just started in Blender. Blender's great.
Immediately Dash comes in just to say.
Wall of text! Yeah, I started using Blender 6 months ago. So I think I'm doing okay.
Do you want to do another quick poll?
What, the quick poll of are you going to upset Das? Because I think the answer is yes.
Do we think that Cubone and Marowak I'm going to give a red, a yellow, or a green to? What do we reckon?
What colour are we going to give them? Not colour. What colour do we want them to have? What colour is Spook going to give them? Why does every female Marowak need to die for their children to grow? What happens when Marowak have multiple Cubones? That's probably why Spook's going to give it a yellow, in my opinion. Spook may give it a yellow because it doesn't make sense from a lore point of view. There's a theory that Cubone is a Charmander variant. His screen is frozen, is it?
I mean, does it move?
There you go. There you go, I think it's unfrozen. Oh. There we go. Thank you for that. I don't think we need a poll for this one. You can just go off, I think. Go on then.
I would give it a yellow.
I thought so. I thought it would be yellow. Oh, there we go. Sorry, Dash, you were too slow.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise that you...
What are people going to vote for? Yellow. I thought it was going to be yellow.
Yeah, it was going to be yellow. So, here's why.
Rip.
Here's why.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the Diglett and Dugtrio thing, there's so many people that always claim to do research on Pokemon, and specifically of certain types. They dedicate their, many, many months and many, many years to understanding what it is about a Pokemon. And it wouldn't take too friggin' long to find a Cubone or a Marowak without a skull on its head.
Yes.
Right? To find out what it actually is.
Case in point, Cubone plush that Das found in a game store literally like a couple of days ago. I googled said Cubone plush, went into Google Images, and literally like the third image was someone who had taken that plush, taken the skull off, see what it looked like underneath.
Yep. What is it?
It's just brown, it's just unmarked, like a little lizard guy.
Well, it's got to be a thing. It's got to be a Pokemon. It's got to be its own thing without the skull.
There he is.
It does look like a Charmander.
Him naked. You take the skull off. He does look a little bit like a Charmander. The angry eyes make it look a little bit more Charmeleon-y, but size-wise, obviously it's a Charmander. You could argue it had the angry eyes because it's a sad boy. But there you go. It kind of just looks like a Charmander. It's got the little yellow belly.
I actually like the theory that Cubone is a Kangaskhan variant more because it's supported by the gap in the Pokedex that became missing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, did you not know Kanga?
It's always bothered me that Kangaskhan baby in its pouch was not a baby Pokemon. Should have become a baby Pokemon. It would have been so easy. So yeah. So this is all gonna tie together. If they give Cubone a separate pre-evolution of just whatever it is, whether it be the baby Kangaskhan or a different kind of Charmander that's just like a rock type, and then it can, gather bones and stuff and attack with them, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But because all Pokemon are born from eggs, which I also have a problem with, but because all Pokemon are born from eggs, that means that a Marowak would have an egg, and within that egg is a baby Cubone
that has a skull.
Which has a skull.
Mm-hmm.
Second point. Why is it that when Cubone evolves into Marowak, the skull changes? Why does the skull grow when it is separate from the Pokemon, and it changes into something that is probably more reminiscent of like a Charizard skull? There's too many questions that go unanswered.
Yep. There's too many variables.
So I like the idea of having another kind of lizardy Pokemon that attacks with stuff that it finds and picks up like bones and stuff. I feel like that's very fitting. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like there's really not enough explanation, and I think we've gone long enough now where an explanation should have been given. This was a Pokemon from 1996. You've had enough time now where you can nail down and say, you know what, this is what we wanted to do with that Pokemon. Let's put some answers down. And they've not done it.
That's valid.
So I would say answer those questions because somebody in the Pokemon world would have found this out by now. There's no way that you've gone 30 years and it's like, you go, so excuse me, Professor, what actually is a Cubone?
Yeah.
And they go, don't know.
Because the thing is that even if you're like, if you have a professor like Professor Oak who's like, you can't do that, that's inhumane. It's like, we literally have evil teams that do inhumane stuff.
Yeah.
They made Mewtwo.
Someone is going to
Someone will have done it because that's what fucked up scientists are like. I love how I can tell how animated Spook is based on how much more the model moves. So, for the setup, the model is tracking me, Spook is sat next to me, so I turn to look at him. And you can see me nodding and shaking with giggles whenever he talks. But the voice detection, because Spook is next to me, detects his voice and causes my mouth to move. Because we're sat next to each other. It's not a perfect system.
Honestly thought you were going to go red because it's a Pokemon Kobold. Appreciate your answer, Spook. Very well said. Yeah, it's one of them. Yeah. I do like the Pokemon. I just feel like they have been very lazy with the details behind it. Yeah. It was all right when the game first came out of like, who's the mystery and speculation and what is it? And then now we're on 9th gen.
Yeah.
We should know what it is by now.
This is the thing about Spook, is that if he dislikes something, he generally has a well-thought-out reason as to why he dislikes something. It's very rare that I've encountered something where Spook goes, I don't like that, and I go, why? And he just goes, I just don't like it. Spook normally has a reason for disliking things.
Next in our list, Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan.
Where did Hitmonchan get his clothes from?
Yeah, that's the main one. I'll accept the kind of skirt thing as being like fur, maybe. Some sort of natural grown furry kind of thing. Because there's no like detailing on it. So I can kind of get that. But the boxing gloves are a little too similar to boxing gloves for me.
Uh-huh.
If they were just like, big padded fists.
Yeah, like Brachydios's like Carapacey pounders.
Yeah, and I suppose that does go for like Poliwhirl and Poliwrath as well.
Yeah.
Because they do look very glove-like, very kind of Mickey Mouse, ha ha, which is a bit bit too realistic for me. But you change them to something that's a bit more natural, and I'd kind of give them. Hitmonlee, on the other hand, doesn't actually have any clothes, and he's just a kicking thing. So I kind of like Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee gets a pass for
Yeah, like to slap his bald head, reblog to slap his bald head.
I'm going to go back up to...
Follow to slap his bald head.
Next up, what we got? Lickitung. Lickitung gets a pass.
Again, it's a Pokemon where it's like, I'm not a fan of its design, but I can't have a problem with it evolutionarily, biologically, it's fine, you know. It's like a chameleon, you know? It's evolutionary, it just evolved a very long tongue so it could grab food. There's nothing really wrong with that in the grand scheme of things. It's also based off a yokai. Coughing and wheezing.
No.
Same treatment as Muck.
Same treatment as Muck.
Don't like pollution Pokemon. Spook, not a fan of pollution Pokemon.
They don't make enough sense for me. They really just don't make enough sense for me as to how they can come to be.
No.
I like, people will say, well, it's because so much pollution happened and then infinity energy, or, you know, just the nature of things just turning into things. Okay, well, if things can just turn into Pokemon, why don't everyday objects, why don't computers, which have electricity and stuff running through them, why doesn't a computer become a Pokemon? So why doesn't a fridge become a Pokemon? Why doesn't a toilet become a Pokemon?
Rotom.
Don't even get me started on Rotom. Don't even, it's way too late in the evening for me to get started on Rotom. Pokemon's new favourite fanboy that they love to jerk themselves off to.
Yep.
It's almost like that
Man.
It's almost like that video of how the world came to be, of like, you can make a religion out of that. You can make a Rotom out of that.
You can make a Rotom out of that.
You want a bike? There's a Rotom for that.
Out of curiosity, what is Rotom's Wikipedia page like now? Rotom. Rotom is motor backwards, if you didn't know.
Rotom is rectum.
Rotom, microwave, washing machine, fridge, fan, mower, and then have we also got, we've got the Pokedex, the phone, a PC, and a drone now? When did the drone get introduced? Why is it yellow? Look at his face! Look at his face!
Looks like the world's most spastic chow.
Oh no, chow!
Why doesn't a Rotom just infect a teleportation machine? Oh dear, did I find a flaw? What a plot hole. No. No.
I feel like you can relate to this man here. This is Spook right now. This guy is Spook. Yeah. A Rotom drone in Adventures, right. Adventures is weird, but I love it.
No.
Right, we're not talking about Rotom right now.
No, we're not. We're not talking about Rotom. Rotom possesses... Is Rotom a ghost type?
Yes. It's Ghost Electric. Don't look at me like that. I didn't make it.
Rhyhorn and Rhydon. Get a pass.
We're moving on. Yep, rhinos that have rock hard shells. It's fine. Chansey.
It's just a big kind of monster thing.
Yeah, it's hard to...
Makes its own eggs externally, kind of like Kangaskhan.
Kinda, yeah. And, like, I believe the lore with the whole healing thing is that the eggs are, for a start, unfertilized, like chicken eggs. And because they're very nutritious, it helps Pokemon heal, which is why it has healing moves.
I've got no issue with that. Tangela, again, I feel like an unappreciated grass type. It's just a load of vines. I can dig that. Kangaskhan, I'm going to give a yellow for the Cubo Marowak discussion.
Yeah, for that.
Can we please sort
debacle.
out whatever the fuck's going on with this? I wouldn't even say triangle at this point. This dodecapolydron thing.
Icosahedron.
It's just like, what the fuck is going on there? Horsey and Seadra.
Seahorses.
Some basic bitch seahorses.
Fine.
Yep, that's fine. Goldeen and Seaking. Oops, not all of them. No. There we go. Again, gotta have them basic bitches.
Yep, we're fine with just people making basic Pokemon. You gotta have basic Pokemon in order for there to be special Pokemon.
Staryu and Starmie, again, they're weird, but
they're a bit
they're
weird.
cool.
It's a bit weird how there's this whole thing of like, oh, they might be from space. We don't know.
Okay, you ruin it for me now.
Oh, dear.
I was green before. What do you mean they might be from space? It's a starfish. That's all the explanation you need. It's based on it's a kind of crystalline, rocky starfish. That's it. That's all. That was the explanation. That's all you need.
When the sun goes down, Staryu's core glows its brightest. Many Staryu float from the seafloor to the surface to align themselves with the stars in the night sky as their core flickers, displaying a connection with celestial bodies of space. The anime has shown that if Staryu becomes weak, its core will glow and faint and flash slowly. During the ends of summer, groups of Staryu tend to gather while lighting up in steady rhythm. Staryu found at the very bottom of the ocean and the seafloors. There are times when Staryu finds itself in rivers and oceans. And then, is it in a Pokedex entry, or did I actually make this up? Staryu apparently communicates with the stars in the night sky by flashing its red core at the centre of its body.
I'm okay with them like flashing at the the night sky because the sailors and navigating via the stars and stuff. That's
From its core, Starmie can emit electrical waves that are powerful enough to reach the furthest parts of the universe. How can you tell? The multicolour glowing of its core is also believed to be a method of communication with other members of its species. As seen in the anime, the core will go dark if Starmie is knocked unconscious and will sometimes flicker if it's low on health. Because its body shape and habit of sending transmissions skywards, some people believe this Pokemon to be extraterrestrial. It has been known to cause headaches in people when approached. It is rarely seen in the wild because it requires an evolution stone to evolve, but it can be found in the deepest part of the ocean.
I'm going to ignore that.
Okay. Moving on. Fish. A lot of Pokemon are just fish. Yeah, I think my issue these days is that there's too many Pokemon that literally are just fish, which we'll probably get to when Magikarp comes along. Porygon is a good boy. They're just a strange robot bird. Mr. Mime. Yep, red. Moving on. Do we need to explain Mr. Mime?
If people feel like they need an explanation to that, I would recommend that you go and watch the Digimon series. That might be right up your alley. That is very fun. Mm-hmm. There's some real freak people in there. Uh-huh. But other than that, we're going to move on from that one.
If you want to watch something more modern, honestly, you can watch Detective Pikachu.
Scyther is cool.
Scyther is top tier.
The fact that they actually managed to make a bug type that is competitively viable and sick as fuck.
It was back in the day. Obviously, now you've got to kind of evolve it to Scizor for it to be competitively viable.
Shut up.
Okay.
Scyther is top tier.
Scyther is top tier. It's probably my favourite bug type of Gen 1.
I'm also going to skip ahead and I'm going to give Pinsir top tier as well.
Yeah.
Because I think Pinsir is also a cool bug type Pokemon. Mm-hmm. Mr. Mime is Ash's dad.
Should I tell him about Cleavor, chat, or shall we leave that for later?
Cleavor.
Shall we wait until we get to Scizor? I feel like this is going to be like a second. We're going to have to go to like another day of this. Should I tell them about Cleavor?
What is Cleavor?
I'm going to see what the chat says. Mr. Mime gets red because it's creepy. Mr. Mime is Ash's dad.
Jinx,
no, it's not!
Jinx also deserves red for same reason. I've been debating this in my head as to whether to go yellow or red.
Tell him about Cleavor. Okay.
What is Cleavor? I need to pee as well, so is this going to be something that I'm going to upset me, or...
Right. Scyther.
Look at that. Look at that.
Traded with a metal coat, becomes Scizor, gets coated in metal.
Scizor, I'm less a fan of its design, but I'll allow it. I think it's okay. I don't think it's bad enough, but to me, like, Scyther, the whole thing is that it can cut through stuff. Scizor is then, like, we turned it into clamps and pincers, and I'm like, okay, bugs do have pincers.
Okay. Its body's coated in metal because of the metal coat.
Yeah.
Okay. Ancient Hisui. Metal coats don't exist. We have, instead, flintstones. It's now rock type. It's covered in flint. The disappointment. The silence and disappointment.
I feel like Lego's gonna sue. That's just a Bionicle.
It's a Bionicle!
That dude's about to mess up Matanui. That's what that is.
EVO like Scyther is valid in low tiers. I didn't know that.
There's some spinning cogs on his back that turns his arms. I had that action figure as a child. I loved it. You can't pass that off as a modern day invention. That was back in 2001.
Yep, that's Cleavor. That's a Legends Arceus thing of we're in the past, we don't have metal coat, so it's rock. It gets covered in rocks. That's a bit small.
But Scyther works in the past. It's a praying mantis.
Yeah.
You don't need to be like, fuck, what did we have before bugs? Oh no. What could we put?
At least everyone agrees with you about Bionic.
Of course, because now that you've looked at it, you've all gone, oh, bugger me, I had that guy as well. That was it the green one? Was it Letu?
Letu? I don't know. I don't know.
Bionicle Letu.
Bionicle.
Letu. Letu. Was it Letu? I feel like it was Letu.
This guy?
Liwa.
Liwa.
No, there's the old Liwa from like Maya. Where's,
I don't know what I'm looking for. I didn't have Bionic.
Toa Liwa. Was it Liwa? Yeah. Toa Liwa.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
I knew I remembered him from somewhere.
Bionicle Toa Liwa.
There's my boy. I got a poster of him.
Oh yeah, he's got an axe. Look,
that is the Cleaver
He's got an axe. Hang on. Shady! Corporate needs you to find the difference between these two pictures.
In a time before time.
Corporate needs you to find the difference between these two pictures. This is the funniest thing I've heard all week. Fantastic.
But it's true. I'm not even like just trying to grasp at straws. Like I looked at that and I thought that's just not a Pokemon. Like that's from somewhere else. I've seen that before. I had so many of the Bionicle models, and in my first, well, not my first room. When was it when I moved into Hurlingham? No, it was in my first room in Tottenham Crescent. I had a shelf that ran literally from one end of the room to the other across. We had a picture rail in my first house. So the shelf just kind of sat on top of that. And I had so many Bionicles up there. I had the ones that rolled up into a ball. I had like the one with the golden mask. And I'd arrange them all on the top shelf into this kind of like, I suppose you could put it as like a Last Supper type epic, like picture. So they went from left to right, like I had all the ball ones together. I had all the ones that could stand together. And then there was like the one with the main bad dude in the middle, and they were all kind of posed around him like in a mid-fight scene. And that was my top shelf for like, I don't know, probably 5-6 years, I want to say. Before my mum made me take them all down. She was like, you should give them away because other kids can play with them. And then I did, and then I wish I'd never done that. So
that's funny how often that happens with mums.
Yeah, that was, I fucking love Bionicle. Anyway, let's get back to this. So, Jinx.
Right. Jinx. The problem with Jinx is that it's
just a person that
lives in it's literally it's intentionally based off a person.
It's just a person in the winter. Nah. I'm not sold enough. It's not unique enough. Electabuzz and Magmar. Pass.
Yeah.
Well, Magmar, I'm going to put a yellow on.
See, the thing is that I like Electabuzz more than Magmar. I think Magmar's duck face is really weird.
Yeah, Magmar, change the head to the things from Spyro 2. Why is Alexa talking?
Why is our Alexa talking? Why is our Alexa talking? What does she want? What was that?
She wants to start paying fucking rent. That's what she wants. You're going to start talking in my house.
Why is Alexa talking? What does she want? I didn't hear what she said.
I don't care what she said. Yeah, shut up, bitch.
What was she talking?
Talking about Pokemon and Bionicles here. I'm living my best life.
Sadie, you using the Alexa.
Anyway, Magmar.
said he's ordering bionicles.
Blue, I need to pee very badly.
Okay.
Load up a picture of the fire dudes from Spyro 2. Skelos Badlands.
Oh, Skelos guys. Skelos Badlands. Skelos Badlands. What are they even called? Flame? Enemies. Excuse me. I was today years old when I learned that the people who live in Skelos Badlands are called the Bone Builders. I was today years old when I learnt this. I don't know how I feel about this information. Can I have permission to make that Bionicle thing an actual meme if I tag you on Twitter or something? Absolutely! Thank you! If you tag me, I will be grateful for it. There you go. You should probably tag my main Twitter and not my art one, because my art one is just my art. I own the Spyro game. Same, I love Spyro. Guess what my bit sound is? I updated it. Yay! I updated that the other day. I have a large game backlog and Spyro is on it. Oh, Spyro's great!
I'm back.
Welcome back. Now, I was today years old when I learned that these guys are called Bone Builders. There's your little fire dude. Yep. Because I came down here and I was looking for enemies and under allies it said Bone Builders and I went, what? So I was today years old when I learned that they were called Bone Builders.
Anyway. Also, something else that I would like to point out at this stage. Yeah, that's the head that I think would be a little bit more fitting, but obviously with Magmar's eyes and stuff on. But Magmar's head, like you say, it's got a duck face and it's got a butt on its head. And I'm like, that just looks dumb whatever way you paint it.
It sure does.
But apart from that, the other thing I want to bring up, you've got Electabuzz and you've got Magmar. Yes. They're kind of a duo.
Kinda, yeah.
Kind of. They go together. Like, not quite as close as Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, but when you think of one, you do think of the other.
Yeah, so when Electabuzz got a new evolution, so did Magmar, and same with babies. We had Magby and Elekid.
Yeah. Why did they not do a grass and a water one? Electric, fire, water, and grass are the basic ones. Why wasn't there some sort of bipedal water one and grass one?
In my brain, even though it didn't end up that way, I don't know if they meant for Jinx to be ice because they had this whole electric, fire, ice thing going with the birds.
That's an interesting
I don't know if Jinx was meant to be part of it, but because Jinx was not popular, they scrapped it.
Maybe.
Because Jinx got Smoochum in Gen 2 as well.
Yeah, Cause just said Jinx is the trio of them. Yeah.
So I think they were going for the fire, ice trio.
Then also agree with Voz. I think Jinx should go with Mr. Mime. Yeah, I feel like I'd make that connection more. Mr. Mime and Jinx.
The thing is that Jinx is next to Electabuzz in the Pokedex, not Mr. Mime.
This is true. And I also think Scyther and Pinsir should be next to each other as just the super cool bug boys.
In fact, let me check this in the Pokedex because. Yeah, water, electric, fire. Articuno. Because Eevee goes Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon. Water, electric, fire.
Right.
And it goes Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres.
Mhm.
Ice, Electric, Fire. And in the Pokedex, it goes Jinx, Electabuzz, Magmar. Ice, Electric, Fire. That's why my brain thought that maybe they were meant to be together, but because it didn't take off, they eventually scrapped it.
Well, I feel like Jinx is a little bit too different to Electabuzz and Magmar, isn't it?
So with Gen 2, they tried to keep it going with Smoochum, Elekid, and Magby. And again, it seems that the water and the ice are replaceable because we had the legendary dogs where Suicune was water instead. But that was the sort of general pattern. We have it with Eevee, the birds, and with this trio here of ice/water, electric, fire.
And maybe Tangela together with Jinx. Yeah, I could see that, because Tangela again was another sort of odd one. Was Mr. Mime Gen 2 or 4? What? Was Mime Junior?
Mime Junior is Gen 4. Do you not know Mime Junior? Because again, Gen 4. Honestly, this is how I'm going to alienate Curls as a friend. Gen 4 is not a popular gen, in my opinion. I'm not a big on Gen 4, and I think I talked about this when BDSP remakes got announced, which is that there wasn't enough new Pokemon in Gen 4. They tried to build on too many previous ones. They made pre-evolution for Mr. Mime. They made a pre-evolution for Bonsly, for Sudowoodo. They made a pre-evolution for Chansey. And I was like, did we need all of these? I think I tallied it up when BDSP got announced, and there's like 30 Pokemon in Gen 4 that are either pre-evolutions or new evolutions to pre-existing Pokemon. And I was like, that's a large percentage of an entire generation of Pokemon that are not technically new. Does this have the Gen 4 Pokedex in it? It doesn't. Dang it. Controversial opinion, I know. I love Gen 4. My favourite gens are 2 and 4. I love Gen 2. I can't say I love Gen 4. Kangaskhan hasn't had a pre-Evo yet. Yeah, we talked about that when we got to Kangaskhan. I
feel like that is where the division between our generations is going to come in, because it was around Gen 3 was the last one that I played. Mm-hmm. I didn't play Gen 4, so I feel like I fall on that side of the line, whereas I imagine Curls, she wasn't Gen 4 her first game. Gen
4 was her first game, that's why she likes it a lot.
There's the dividing line.
Yeah. As someone who's played through all of them,
third ones might be a little bit on the boring side.
Yeah, as someone who's played through all of them and looking back subjectively, this is where I go. It's like, what are all your big heavy hitters in Gen 4? Magmortar, evolution of Magmar. Electivire, evolution of Electabuzz. Tangrowth, evolution of Tangela. There's just so many.
Right, can we get back to the list?
Yeah.
So Tauros gets a pass.
Yeah.
It's a ball.
I haven't got a problem with Tauros.
I do want to make one question to the Pokemon Master here.
Mm-hmm.
Tauros is a bull.
Yes.
Miltank is a cow.
Yes.
Anatomically, they are quite different.
Yes. They're also, I believe, gender locked, which has another set of implications that I don't know if we really want to be addressing. I've missed the A, haven't I? Tauros got given new forms in Scarlet and Violet because I think they were obligated to, because it's Spain. So they gave them a black bull. It's not really changed too much from Tauros, but they gave it a Paldea form, and then they had different breeds.
Why?
Because Spain and bulls, and that's about as far as I can get. Because it was Spain, and they had to put a bull in it.
I mean, I'm okay with them having a different, like, colour variation or whatnot. You know, that's fine, sirs, but why fire and ice?
Fire and water.
Fire and water?
I don't know. I'm going to wait for Lockstin to do a video on that to work out why.
Okay.
Don't know.
I do like the new forms. The other is a bull, Angie. One is a destructive violet monster. Oh, is that talking about Miltank? Yeah. Everyone's faced up against, what was her name?
Whitney.
Yeah, Whitney's Miltank.
Hey, on Taurus's page, when gender ratio got introduced, 100% male.
Yeah. So that was the only question that I got, because Miltank is definitely like
It's
bipedal.
considered to be a counterpart of Miltank.
Yeah.
100% female.
I don't see Miltank walking around on all fours because I don't think those legs could support its udders underneath it walking on all fours, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's rather large, isn't it?
So there is definitely an implication there which we are not going to address now. But Tauros, on the other hand, I like Tauros. I think he's just a cool, rare, normal type.
Yeah.
You know, basic, but cool.
I think Gen 1's got quite a few beefy normal types, which I think is also very fun because in the Pokemon Adventures manga, it's implied that Professor Oak is a normal type trainer because he's got a Kangaskhan, a Tauros, a Dodrio, and a Fearow, which obviously is flying type, but they're part normal type as well. And I'm just like, a Chansey, it's like all these beefy normal type Pokemon.
Magikarp and Gyarados, sick.
It's fine, though I will put the little asterisks in on Magikarp, which is obviously, on its own, it's fine. It's the iteration of multiple generations that just added in so many fish that lessens it, of just like, did we need these multiple fish? That's not Magikarp's fault, though.
No.
Love the concept, it's based off the legend of the carp.
I don't think Spook has a Twitter. I do have a Twitter, but I don't use
Spook
it.
does not use it, so
there's not really much point in
Yeah.
following me, I'm afraid. I mean, if I post something, everyone else will retweet it anyway. There would be no way that you wouldn't see one of my tweets by not following Blue or Das or...
Yeah. if Spook tweets something, it's because I took his phone off him and tweeted for him.
Yeah.
Which I would then in turn probably retweet.
I'll take Whitney isn't a hard gym leader. I think she just stood out. She wasn't actually hard, but I think it was a bit of like a culture shock of when you're playing through. You generally tended to walk over the gyms to a degree because it's like, well, you just get the type matchup. But normal, you didn't really have a fighting type at the time, so you did have to be, a little bit higher level. But
it sticks out as memorable. A lot of people did struggle with her once that Miltank got that rollout going.
Yeah. But other than that, no, I'd say you're right on that. I feel like we never see pure normal types before. Anymore, I think is what you meant there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to point out. I feel like nowadays, in order to make Pokemon special, they have to make every single one of them dual type. I miss just having what's this? It's a water type. Or what's this? It's an ice type. Is it an ice ground or is it a nice dark? No, it's an ice. It's an ice type.
Yeah.
Just leave it as one type. You don't need to mix it. It's okay to have ones where it's like it's just fire. It's just fire.
Pretty much every generation, when we get a pure normal type, it's the Route 1 mammal, and then we just kind of move on. Yeah, our Route 1 mammal was Lechonk, and then Dunsparce.
I just read your about and stuff, so I've got it now. Who's about stuff? Is that your about stuff or my about stuff? Do I have an about stuff?
You might have a small about on your Twitter, but there's an about beneath me which does talk about us and our friends and stuff.
In my honest opinion, Gen 3 was the last true generation of normal types. What do you reckon, Blue? Because I've not really played 4 and onwards.
Yeah, as you say, if I bring this list over again, it's like if we're just looking pure normal types, we've got the Gen 1, we've got Meowth, Persian, Lickitung, Chansey, Kangaskhan. We're starting to get into our beefy ones. Tauros, Ditto, Eevee, Porygon, Snorlax. There's so many Gen 1, and then we start to lose them. Sentret and Ferret. I love Ferret. Good boy. Apon, Dunsparce, Teddiursa, so Ursaring, we're starting to get another beefy one. Yeah. Porygon, Evolution, Stantler's fine. Smeargle, Miltank, Blissey, Beefy. Then we go to Zigzagoon, Slackings, Exploudline, Delcatty. We've still got quite a few here in Gen 3. Yeah, Bidoof. Bidoof is our regional mammal. Its evolution is not monotype, it becomes part water. And Apom evolution. Thanks.
Okay.
Furry bait. Beefy Perugly. Baby Pokemon. Lickitung evolution. Another Porygon evolution. Normal type legendary. Okay, I'll give you that.
That's
Arceus is meant to be every type, so you kind of get, it changes type. And then we're already in the next generation, and then it's just Rat, Dog, our Chansey clone, another sort of mammal, a Tauros clone, and now we're back again, a rabbit.
That's the next gen, isn't it?
Dog, yeah. Gumshoos, we're now into another generation.
Yeah.
Silvally, we got Koala. That's one generation. Yungoos down to Kamala. We've gone from maybe, 15 or something? I didn't count. We've gone down to 5.
Yeah.
We've got Squirvet.
Yeah, you might be right.
We got Wooloo. We got 4 in Sword and Shield.
For it, walk right now.
Nobody can break my stride. Nobody can slow me down. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving.
Explode, I'd forgotten that Pokemon. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember getting a Wizmat and then just being like, cool, into the PC.
Wooloo is an excellent Pokemon, 100% agree. But as you can see, we've got 4 Pokemon in Sword and Shield. Scarlet and Violet, we got 5. One of which was a Dunsparce evolution.
Dunsparce got an evolution.
Dunsparce got an evolution. It got longer.
Cast form isn't really normal, yeah. Cast form I know changes based on the weather, doesn't it?
Yeah, it changes with the weather. 1, 2, 3. Not going to count. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Should we get back to the
11,
list, love? Because I'm
12.
very nearly at the end of Gen 1.
Go on, let's finish Gen 1. There was
Right.
there was 11 mono normal types in Gen 1. We went down to 4 in Sword and Shield.
Lapras.
Lapras, I love Lapras.
Lapras gets a green.
Love
Lapras.
Lapras.
Ditto.
See, it's the way Ditto works is very. If to me, it is sort of strikes me as like a video gamey thing, but also it is kind of fun of having something that mimics. What are Spook's pronouns? Spook is he, him, and I am she, her.
I like the idea that Ditto again is another experiment. Man-made.
Yeah, there is a theory. There is a theory that Ditto are failed attempts at Mew.
Yeah, so I like that. I think that can work then. Now then, where we're at.
Eevee!
Right.
Okay, is it poll time?
Poll time.
Poll time, Spook's reaction to Eevee. Green, yellow, or red? Green, it's fine, it doesn't need to be changed. Yellow, it needs to be tweaked. Red, it doesn't belong.
I don't think Dash is here anymore.
So I will set it up in that case.
Who's going to set up a poll? Ditto as a Pokemon or an item. I mean, the way I've seen some people use Dittos, I think there could be a third option in there, Voz. Is that a theory or confirmed that it's a failed Mew?
It's a theory, I think.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of speculation that there were failed attempts at Eevee, but they never made the direct connection, I believe, from like the diaries in Cinnabar Island to say Ditto is failed Mew.
I don't think it was ever said. There we go. Das has got the polyp. I don't think it was ever said, but it's a fan theory of things being like, oh, shiny Ditto is blue and so is shiny Mew. You can find Dittos in only in 2 places, which is Cerulean Cave, where Mewtwo lives, and in the Cinnabar Mansion, which was where the documents for where Mewtwo was made is found. So people are like, that's a funny coincidence. Also, at the time, I can't remember if that's still true or not. At the time, only 2 Pokemon could learn Transform: Ditto and Mew. So that was the basis of that theory. Is that they because Mew's Pokedex entries and stuff claims that it has the genetic DNA of all Pokemon. People claimed that Ditto was a failed attempt to recreate Mew, and which is why Ditto can transform into any Pokemon because it kind of has some of that DNA of everything. That's the fan theory for Ditto.
Okay.
I was engrossed in mini painting. That's valid. If it's not green, I will cry. I feel like I know where this is going. I'm going to throw my hat to the ring that it's going to be yellow, but this is me being biased because obviously I've been here the entire time, because people who were here at the start of the stream will know from Spook talking about Pikachu that Spook is not a fan of the evolution stones mechanic and thinks it should be different. And I imagine that is what he is going to say about Eevee. I imagine Spook is going to say that he thinks Eevee is fine, it needs to just have a different evolution mechanic, which is what would be under yellow. Yellow is, it just needs to be changed slightly. So we're probably going to go over this again. But it's very cute. No, yeah, that's the thing. That's why it'll be yellow. It's fine that it's cute. It'll be the evolutions that bring it down. Parasect cries like Mewtwo, I think. What?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah. Rhyhorn is the same sound as Charizard.
Is it?
And Omanyte has the same sound as Machop. In Gen 1, there wasn't a lot of data on cartridges, so they had to save space. I think in modern iterations, modern sound files have been slightly tweaked with different filters, but in the original games, they're basically all pretty much one-to-one. Fun fact for you. I have an Eevee problem, I own too much stuff. I understand.
Rhyhorn is the first Pokemon, confirmed.
It was Rhydon, wasn't it? Not Rhyhorn.
Oh yeah, it was
Rhydon.
Rhydon. Yeah.
Rhydon.
That's why its statues are everywhere. That would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Why it was used as the basis for that.
It was the first Pokemon.
mammal.
It was the first Pokemon designed, which is why there's that meme of the "Who Wants to Be a Millionaire" question of which Pokemon came first. Which is the first Pokemon? Bulbasaur, Rhydon, Arceus, Mew, and it's just like it's.
So,
chat has voted green.
Yellow.
It's yellow. I was right.
Going with yellow. No, I do like Eevee.
I like
it. I think it's a great for a game that is about types and evolutions and stuff. Having one where it's like this is the elf.
The elf. I love that.
There's one everywhere. There's one of the forest and there's one of the this.
I forgot that we used to say that elves were the Eevee of D&D.
Well,
they are. They're
just fucking everywhere.
They're fucking everywhere, and they evolve to fit their environment.
Yeah. Spooky's attacking me personally. Yeah. I picked you out of the chat and I was like, I'm going to upset them today.
Oh no, they've got a knife!
So, here's my beef with Eevee and its evolutions. It's evolutions, right?
Evolutions.
I think stones kind of suck because they're treated almost like a currency. In that you just go through the game not having them until you get to Celadon, and then you just have as many as you want.
Them, yeah.
And you just basically choose on the spot and just say, you're now this. And there's no real effort into how the Pokemon grows. They just instantly just magic happens and they become it.
Mm-hmm.
I much prefer the idea of if you want to have some kind of magical stone, that it's like a big momentous thing that you have to go to, somewhere you have to travel to. There's like a journey involved, and it doesn't just change them. It like helps them progress towards that change. I mean, going back to
Leafeon.
Going back to what Nerwin pointed out with when he said that in order to evolve into that Annihilate, you needed to use a certain move. If Eevee has the chance to learn certain TMs like Flamethrower or Water Gun and stuff, then using those moves, I feel like that would be a better way of advancing towards a certain type.
They slightly do that with Sylveon, because Sylveon is a little bit more complicated because it used affection, which was not the same as happiness, which is already in and of itself confusing. It got added in X and Y, and an affection was to do happiness was raised by using the Pokemon in battles, not having it knocked out, giving it massages and stuff like that. Affection was another thing when they added in the little mini games so you could like pet them and give them treats and stuff. I know you can give me that look, whatever. And affection slightly worked different to happiness because I think it's one of those is where happiness is a slight mistranslation. In the Japanese versions, it would probably have been more accurate to call it loyalty, not happiness.
Right. Speaking of mini games, shout out to everyone's dead Nintendog.
No.
But getting back to Pokemon.
No. So to get a Sylveon, you had to have maximum affection, but it also had to know a Fairy type move because Sylveon was the introduction of the Fairy type. So that has carried over. Affection is not really part of the game so much anymore, so it's now still tied to happiness. But in order to differentiate from evolving into Espeon or Umbreon, you now have to make sure that you have a Fairy type move. So if you have an Eevee that doesn't have a Fairy type move with high happiness, daytime it's Espeon, nighttime it's Umbreon. If it's got high happiness and it knows a Fairy type move, it's Sylveon. So it's kind of half what you've said there of like having the moves.
It's amazing how they've managed to make it so complicated when they already have so many stats in the game that you could just manipulate and move around to evolve in certain things. Right. Let's go from the top. Eevee is meant to be the Pokemon that evolves into all types. Do we feel like it should be able to evolve into every type?
I guess.
No.
No, you don't
I
think
would
so?
say no.
Okay. And before anybody makes the joke, no, we are not evolving Eevee into a ghost type using a brick.
Yeah. Right, let's go to Pokemon types. Right. Let's look down the list of Pokemon types.
I think Eevee's evolutions peaked at Gen 2, solid 4 out of 6. The first 3 evolutions are kind of boring, but I love them anyway. That's fair. It's very hard for me to pick a favourite evolution. In the Gen 1s, it's Jolteon. In the Gen 2s, it's Umbreon, but I also really like Sylveon, and I find it very hard to pick between those three.
So, if anyone can see my screen at the moment, this is the 18 official Pokemon types that exist.
According to Core, Eevee is meant to only evolve into energy/special types, as opposed to the physical typing. The physical special divide that happened in Gen 3.
Is that the physical special divide that then got overruled when they started making physical and special but determined based on what move you use?
Yes.
That divide?
Yes.
Cool. So we're going to ignore that.
Okay.
And we're going to look at this.
Okay.
You can't make a rule and then change it afterwards and then say, but the canon before stays. So, looking at these ones, right? Normal, fire, water, grass, electric, ice, fighting, poison, ground, flying, psychic, bug, rock, ghost, dark, dragon, steel, and fairy. Of those, the ones that I feel that you shouldn't be able to get would be ghost, dragon, and steel.
That makes sense.
I know they would be sick, they would look cool, but I'm just thinking from a lore standpoint in the game. I feel like dragon is a very specific type that you really have to kind of...
Yeah, dragon is the special one.
Is the special one. Steel is man-made. So I suppose you could have like a man-made evolution. I have said that there are ones, so maybe we could take steel off that list. But dragon I feel is a bit too special. And ghost, as I've said before, ghost Pokemon to me are dead Pokemon.
Yeah.
So if you have a ghost Eevee, that is the same way of saying rip. So I'd say probably just them two then. Ghost and dragon, I would say take them out, but there should be then an evolution of every other type. If you're going to have a Pokemon that is about evolving into every type, either do it or don't.
Yeah.
Don't just pick some of them and then say, well, we couldn't be asked with the rest of them, or we couldn't think of the other ones. Like, the whole point is you either go for it or you don't. That's like making a Pokemon series to me and then not including a legendary because like, we couldn't think of one. There's meant to be a legendary with every area. That's kind of the point. It is gone forever, pretty Umbreon Espeon wallet. Aww.
Aww.
I actually have a steel type Eevee card.
Oh, is that Delta Species? Delta Species isn't canon, but that's very cool. Delta Species was a spin-off of it was a TCG set where they were like, what if we just fucked around with the types?
Hey up. I know that guy.
Hey. Oh, hey, look who it is. That's a name I haven't seen in my chat in forever. What you doing? Yeah, steel type Eevee. It's a Delta Species thing. It was just like wasn't a canon thing, really. It was just a trading card set where they were like, let's have a bit of fun. So there's an Espeon... Image isn't loading. This is an Espeon that's part psychic, but also part steel.
Okay.
The sort of micro story that they'd made was that there was an island where some scientists had set up a couple of radio towers, and the radio waves was messing with the Pokemon biology and changing their types. Steel type.
Okay, interesting.
That was the sort of pseudo story that they made, and that's what the Delta Species were.
Alright, fair enough.
It was a cool concept. It was just a one-off for like a couple of things, so you could just get random ones. So grass type Crobat, electric type Dragonite. There's a psychic type Gardevoir there, but I know for a fact that there's a fire type Gardevoir because I believe I have the card for it. A fire type Mewtwo.
Weird.
Yeah, it was very strange. It was very strange, but cool. It was a cool concept. Steel type Nidoqueen.
The 5G changed the Pokemon types.
Steel type Nidoqueen. So visually, they didn't really change much. Most of them just get like a little aura around them. But yeah, reminiscent of that.
Okay, so going back to it. So yeah, Eevee, I would say there just needs to be more of the evolutions, and I'd like to see some more interesting ways of evolving them.
JPEG Espeon.
That's another thing. Espeon and Umbreon that I don't understand.
Yeah, what about them?
Umbreon evolves if you befriend it at night.
Yes.
Makes sense. It's a dark type. Espeon is in the daytime because it's psychic. That one I'm like, why wouldn't that be Leafeon? Photosynthesis.
Yeah.
Doing stuff with it in the day like a plant.
That is interesting that you should say that, because the Gold and Silver beta that we mentioned earlier
Had a leaf.
had a Leafeon beta in it. So it was on their mind, but they chose to go against it. I guess because they felt like Psychic paired better with Dark.
I mean, yeah, that is fair. It's just...
It's another one of those things where game mechanics are probably interfering with your lore, because it was a case of like, well, we've made a day and night system, and we've decided that we want to utilize Eevee to exemplify it by having a day and night evolution, and that's when it's get to, well, obviously the nighttime one has to be dark, and that was probably when they went, it's like, oh well, day grass, and they were like, but grass doesn't really pair with dark, so we'll go with Psychic.
But yeah, that's my hot take on evolutions.
Just vibing, living life, flying to Ireland next Thursday. Oh damn! Have a safe flight. Yeah, they just wanted a foil to Umbreon. Yeah.
Anyway, Porygon.
Porygon
gets a green because it is 100% man-made canonically, so that can stick around.
Computer data. The Pokédex entries, let's just say it's like computer data.
Even if you don't like it, it's fine, but it's okay that it exists. Ammonite and Amistar. Now, fossil Pokemon.
Resurrected fossil Pokemon. What are your opinions on them?
Well, we've already established that they have such vast technology access in Pokemon that the idea of them being able to basically recreate a fossil with a little bit of its DNA and turn it into a real Pokemon, perfectly fine to me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that you'd have to draw the line of they can't do that with the amount of stuff that they can get away with. They have Pokemon machines where you literally put it in a ball and it goes dun 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 dun, and then it's fully healed. So clearly they have access to some sort of gene altering technology. That there is
a theory that because every single fossil Pokemon that gets restored is part rock type. So there is a theory that it's kind of like a pseudo Jurassic Park thing, in that they're not 100% faithful recreations, because the act of being dead and fossilized and then being revived has modified them, which is why they all have rock types. So it's a close approximation to how they were, if you can sort of get what I'm saying. Of like, that's why they all have rock type. The rock that they were fossilized into is kind of ingrained into them. They can't perfectly extract it one-to-one, which is why ties in with partly with the theory of why we've got Dittos of like, well, they weren't able to perfectly recreate Mew. They don't actually have the technology to perfectly clone Pokemon yet.
No, I can fully see that. So I'm going to give those, and also Kabuto and Kabutops is way better than Ammonite and Amistar.
Absolutely correct. Aerodactyl, also very good.
Yeah, that's also awesome. Snorlax.
It's just a big sleepy bear.
Yeah.
It's just a bear.
Big sleepy bear.
Sleepy bear. Legendaries. My hatred of Porygon is 20 years of salt build-up. Oh my god.
Is that because you spent ages trying to buy one from the corner?
Hope you're having a wonderful day. Good luck with the stream. Thanks. I hope that you're doing well. Have a safe journey. You'll have to let us know when you're back.
Yeah, safe flight.
Yeah. Need to come visit and say hey. We're going to be moved by the time you come and say hey. We won't be here anymore.
Cleaver should be ancient Kabutos. You should be quiet.
You can see the link, can't you? You can see the link. That could even be part of the theory. They were trying to revive a Cleavor, but they got a Kabutops instead. Hello again, child.
No, because that would mean that we looked into the past and made something better. We don't do that as people. We make things worse.
Spook doesn't want to acknowledge Cleaver.
Cleaver, no.
Yeah, no. See? Spook doesn't want to acknowledge Cleaver.
Cleaver is only good enough for the cutting room floor. Said my piece. Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres are undeniably the peak of legendary design.
Really? Okay. You think legendary birds? I mean, I love them.
They are.
I adore them.
Sick as fuck.
I love them. Okay, this is where we're gonna branch again. Legendary birds.
All right.
Legendary birds got given regional forms.
All right, I have heard just a little bit about this.
I have opinions on these that I vocalized when they were announced.
Wait. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. First point.
Okay.
First point.
Uh-huh.
I thought Legendaries were one of a kind.
Mm-hmm. So the fact that there is regional variance implies that they are in fact a species of animal that breeds and evolves just like any other.
I don't like that.
Fair.
That's kind of the whole point of them being legendaries, is that they are kind of semi, semi godlike or whatever.
So even though it didn't say it, that is what a regional variant of a legendary implies. It implies that there are multiples and they breed and evolve just like anything else.
They are cool designs. I think they're really cool, but
they are cool designs.
I don't understand how you can have a regional variant of something that is genderless in the game, because the whole point is that they don't reproduce. They are
you
their
can't
own
breed
thing.
them. They are genderless.
That's why I find it weird that they're just like, they can, it's just you can't do it with them because I said so.
Yep.
Shh.
Game. Looks like Yvettel. It does a little bit. Fan theories that they aren't actually variants but are just different species.
Moltres looks like a rubber chicken on fire, but besides that, I mean, it's a bird. Zapdos looks like a crow that landed on a telegraph pole.
Yeah.
It's a bird. Birds are stupid looking.
It's interesting that there's a fan theory that they're different species when a generation later they actually did introduce species that look the same but aren't. We've got Wiglet and we've got Toadscruel. Pokemon that are a different species but look very similar to the other ones. So it's very interesting that people think that but they actually introduced it but chose not to do this. Gotta go for now. It was really fun to meet you guys. You're hilarious and awesome, really nice. Thank you for the warm welcome and take care. Hope to see you around more. Thank you!
Bye, Sam Guy.
Bye, Sam. I hope to see you in the future.
If you like our commentary, we play together on Fridays because that's the only time when my wife will let me play with her.
Shut up. But we do play games on Friday. We do play games on Friday.
Yeah.
You're going as well. Bye. Thanks so much for staying and chatting in the chat. I hope to see you in the future. Have a good stream. Thank you. Have a good night.
Take care of yourselves.
Right. We're nearly done. We can do it, guys. We don't normally stream until midnight, but we're doing it because we're so close to the end.
I think Moltres is a straight-up improvement design-wise, but I agree Regional Legends are kind of I do prefer Moltres' original one, but there's probably a bit of bias in there. But I know why people like the new design, if they do, because they're black and red is a colour combination that goes well together. Look at the Charizards.
Yes.
The Mega Evolution Charizards. Let's put some black in there.
Yeah,
because
it's the edgy colour.
I mean, they've all got black in them.
Yeah. So, my gripe with these was the fact that they are still Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos, and they don't have the Ice, Fire, and Electric typing. Yo! Naren, thanks for gifting subs to everybody!
Good lord.
Woo! Thanks for giving some subs to the chat. Thank you so much.
I'm not a Charizard person at all. I'm partially a Charizard person, but only because I had the super rare trading card. But other than that, I was a Blastoise boy.
Yeah, you're a Blastoise boy.
Blastoise through and through. I've never played an old Pokemon game where it's like, what's your starter going to be? And that's been a choice. That's just a case of, this is the bit where I need to pick Squirtle.
Yeah. So, Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres.
Mm-hmm.
This is Psychic Flying, Dark Flying, and Fighting Flying.
Okay.
Which I find cool from a game mechanic because fighting beats dark, dark beats psychic, psychic beats fighting. We've got a type trio here.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they still called Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres? I appreciate that they're part flying because they're birds, except, oh wait, Zapdos runs now because it's an ostrich. If you couldn't tell from the legs. It doesn't actually fly in game, it runs around on the ground. I think they would have been so much more interesting mechanically because they would have been unique types to have been Ice Psychic, Dark Fire, and Fighting Electric. I think that would have added in a lot of variety because they're interesting type combinations.
Yes and no, because you would constantly be fighting with the fact that they aren't flying type. But if I'm being brutally honest, to step back even further, the more you explain to me about them, the more to me it is just gimmick.
Yeah.
We have, the legendary birds are a staple amongst Pokemon. They are iconic as being legendary creatures that everyone remembers going to find in the power plant on Victory Road and in the Seamflow Miles. People loved going to find them, the puzzles, and then the actual epic battle, the music, and the cry and whatnot. They thought it was amazing. That's just the Roadrunner.
It's a Roadrunner.
But everyone loved them. So the fact that it's like we're going to a new area, let's just use the legendaries we've already had, but just change them up a bit. It's a bit gimmicky. What have we got? I've always been a water child until Gen 6. Same. Couldn't agree more. Because Game Freak wanted money and the bird trio was pop. Yeah.
It sold the DLC because I'm pretty sure that it was the DLC that added them in. So it sold the DLC. You buy the DLC, you get the 3 legendary birds. Also, yes, this artwork is great.
Spook, sorry to pan back to now irrelevant comments. I would pay for you paint Necron's bionicle colours.
That's hilarious.
Or better yet, make them their own legendary birds. Yeah, also I love that one photo of the side of the original tree.
Also, ooh, shiny birds. That's a very pretty piece of artwork.
At the end of the day, Game Freak wants money, and that's why they make the choices they do. Yeah.
At the end of the day, unfortunately, there's probably
nuts.
Just to come back.
Next up, because we're nearly there.
That needs clipping.
Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite.
I'm gonna make some controversial. Are we gonna agree? Dratini and Dragonair are green. Dragonite is yellow for me.
Yeah, I like the idea of having a super cool dragon for Gen 1. I just feel like Dragonite was radically different.
It's
from
too
the other
different. It's
vastly
too different. I love Dragonair. Can you buy me? It's blue and white with feathery little wings.
Like an axolotl.
Yeah. Can you blame me for loving Dragonair?
No,
I get sad when I have to evolve my Dragonair into a Dragonite because it's just so much stronger.
No, same. I get it. Like, I don't dislike Dragonite. I think Dragonite is cool.
Yeah.
I just, when you say, oh, it evolves from Dragonair, I go, does it though?
Dragonite flies by getting wings.
It just gains too many limbs for one evolution. It gains legs, it gains hands, and it gains like an actual designated body.
There was actually a shiny Dragonair in the anime.
And just shinies can fuck off. But Dragonite is just too different. I don't understand why they made it so much different to Dragonair and Dratini.
There's the it's so visually disturbing. The actual it's like walking down a set of stairs and missing the last step.
Yeah.
When you're just sort of looking for a step and you miss it and you sort of go a little bit.
I don't know why they didn't go for a more sort of Gyarados.
Yeah, Gyarados is more
serpentine dragon as opposed to more of a Western dragon of, we're going to have something that's got arms and legs and stuff. That's kind of my gripe with Dragonite. I wouldn't mind if Dragonite was just its own thing or a different line where they gave it different pre-evolutions, but I just don't see that it follows on from Dragonair. That's all. That's my kind of issue.
Yeah, that's my main issue as well. Dragonite doesn't really follow to Dragonair very well.
Yeah, look, Das has got it. Dratini, Dragonair, Gyarados. Yeah, the Gyarados looks more... I mean, it doesn't look exact. I wouldn't say it looks exactly like what I would want it to go into, but it looks more.
Plus the whole gimmick, the whole reasoning behind Magikarp to Gyarados is that it's based off a legend where a carp swam up a waterfall, leapt through a dragon gate, and turned into a dragon.
Yeah, I know about the legend.
Gyarados doesn't look like a dragon; it looks like a sea serpent.
Like the first two, the third is dumb. So yeah, cause an agreement. Okay, I know Gen 2 Pokemon breaking the rules, but thoughts on Tyranitar? I like Tyranitar.
It's a cool Pokemon.
I think Tyranitar is a cool
Pokemon. That's a good. Yeah, that's an S tier Pokemon, honestly.
Although I will say, less of a fan of Pupitar and Larvitar.
Yeah, Pupitar especially.
Yeah,
Larvitar's okay.
Pupitar makes me think that this is a bug.
Yeah.
But it's not a bug. So I'm like, why is there a bug type? But Tyranitar to me is like kind of alternate version of Typhlosion. I'm here to be super cool.
Yep.
And you will love me. And it's like, yeah, I do. Think it's cool. Cool as fuck.
S tier Pokemon.
Magikarp to Dragonite, saying it now. Yeah, Dash is probably right. It's probably one of them things of like the whole Butterfree
Venomoth thing, yeah.
situation of like they swapped the sprites around or something and we're like, we're going to go with this instead. But yeah, I mean, as again, I don't think they go exactly, but I feel like they do go better. If that makes sense. Dragonite is friend-shaped, and I do love him, but agree, weird Evo line. Yeah, it's one of them. I'd say keep Dragonite, just give him different pre-evolutions. Just give him his own unique,
he could be a different Pokemon.
Yeah, give him his own tier 1 and tier 2.
It's literally because of Dragonite. Like, there was a thing on Twitter which had all of the, like, pseudo-legendary dragon Pokemon listed, and it was, like, pick the ones that you can only pick 2 out of all of them. It's like, which do you pick? And I was looking at the list, and I was like, I'm not picking Dragonite. No. And it's for this reason.
There are a lot of inconsistencies in the evolutions with the bugs. Weedle and Caterpie lines are mixed. Evolution inconsistencies is a staple at this point. Tyranitar is so cool. Yeah, thank you for validating me. I
think it's just another one of those things that's just like a symptom of Gen 1 because, when they made Gen 1, I don't think anybody could ever have appreciated what it would become when they made Gen 1.
I'm just going to finish the line off by giving Mewtwo a Mew. Agree.
Yep. That's good. That's good Pokemon right there. That's a good Pokemon. It doesn't make sense from a gameplay perspective that Mewtwo technically comes before Mew in the Pokedex.
No, that is fair. Technically, Mew should be first.
At the start, yeah.
Well, I actually have a preferred theory for Pokedex. I don't think they would have numbered them the way that they did. I think that they would do it one of 2 ways. Mm-hmm. They would do them both alphabetically, but one of them would be based on the first in the evolutionary line, so Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, and the second one would be to take the adult form as the baseline and say it's the Venusaur line as opposed to the Bulbasaur line, so you would get Venusaur, Ivysaur, Bulbasaur. So in one of them, Bulbasaur would be close to the top of the list because it's B for Bulbasaur, but in the second one, it would be close to the bottom of the list because it would be V for Venusaur. That is how I think they would academically sort it, because alphabetical is always best.
Yeah. There was an interesting book which was where like a lot of people got a lot of lore from in the early day. They released a Pokedex book in Japan. It was Japan exclusive that had a lot of lore, and it was sorted, which is probably why they did it in Fire Red, Leaf Green. It was sorted by environment. It had the grassland environment, and in that environment it then went Pokedex, I believe, of like Pidgey and Rattata, and then it went to forest where you had all the Weedles, but then Pikachu appeared in the forest and things like that, and it went through the different environments.
The problem I'd have with that is that there are some Pokemon that deliberately do cross, terrains.
Yes.
So that would make it a little confusing then as to, are you going to have duplicate creatures in certain areas? Mailman Dragonite, super cute and absolutely necessary. I mean, I don't do cute stuff, and I wouldn't call it necessary in a world where emails are, no longer necessary either. Technology has gone far beyond the realm of, emails and telecommunications. If you want to get a message to somebody, we've got 3D printers in our world telling me they can't 3D print whatever thing you need on the other side of the world. Let's give this dragon a letter. That seems like a really dumb way of doing things.
There we go.
I mean, when you got a world when you can... He has a cute hat. Oh, Diddums.
Aw, he has a cute hat.
Screw him and screw his hat. Also, postmen are defined by shorts, not hat. This is just a fact.
Have you even listened to Going Postal?
No.
You should, it's a good book.
Well, I'll get around to it. The hat makes it. The hat makes it unnecessary. You've got access to technology where you can literally create a Pokemon in the digital world. So if you need to get information from one place to another, or materials from one place to another, you literally have teleportation technology. A postman has become redundant. In fact, by that logic, a milkman has become redundant. Because you can milk a milk tank and then send the bottle via teleportation. Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat and his Dragonite.
Dragonite hat.
Early in the morning, just as day is dawning.
Is this the indication that the stream's gone on too long?
Yeah.
Okay. It's 20 past midnight now.
Send letters via trades.
I don't even know when the music stopped, but the music stopped a long time ago. Wow. I don't know what caused that to happen.
It was me. I did it.
The music stopped a while ago.
So there you go. There is Spook's hot take on Gen 1 on who deserves to live and who deserves to die.
This was so fun. This was so fun. We don't normally do this kind of thing, but wow, I loved it. Next time you get a Wednesday off, I might have to see if we can get you to come on again.
There were 7 Pokemon that I said do not deserve to carry on.
Only 7 Pokemon in Gen 1. Oh, that's going to get a lot larger as we carry on. Spook is a Gen 1er.
Yeah, if you want us to keep doing this at some point in the future, let us know, and we will arrange some time for us to do it. Because the future ones are going to be more fun, because Blue will actually have to explain some Pokemon to me the further on we go.
Yeah.
I know Gen 1, and I mostly know and remember Gen 2. I think if you showed me them all, I would recognise them. Gen 3 is where it starts to get a little sketchy.
Yes.
I remember most of Gen 3, but then Gen 4 and onwards, that's too deep for me. I'm out of the loop. I'm too old for this shit. Hello, it's me. Oh no, wait. Blue's just putting it on the. Oh, is it just me little?
Just little, so you're not covering up the thing. There we go.
What else have people been putting on? So
there you go. People, I think, are starting to sign off, which is why I brought us over.
Spook's going off like Brendan and Matt Mercer did about Harry Potter and how bullshit the whole system was. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just pointing out the inconsistencies.
Yeah. Brendan knows a lot about birds, and they made a good point. If you have magic and you base your postal system by using the world's slowest flying bird, that's animal cruelty.
I mean, man's got a point.
Yeah, they do.
And like I say, when you've got access to Pokemon technology where you can literally teleport anything around the world, you don't need a postal service.
Mm-hmm.
That's pointless. That's just flexing. You're not sending a letter. You're sending a Dragonite to say, hey, look, I own a fucking Dragonite.
Yeah, that's literally what that was for. To be fair, that's probably what Mewtwo was doing.
That's like saying, this guy turned up today riding his Raikou. What did he do? He handed me my lunch for work. Like, no, he showed you that he's got a fucking Raikou and time to kill. That's what he did.
Yeah.
He could have sent you money digitally via Revolut and then said just go and buy a Subway. But no, he turned up on his Raikou to show off. That's what that was about.
Look, if I owned an Arcanine, I would 100% ride that to go anywhere I needed, just to be like, I've got an Arcanine. I have an Arcanine.
Blue sat in a public toilet with an Arcanine in the cubicle with her. I
Maybe
needed to
not.
pee.
Maybe not. Okay, right.
I would love to hear more old man yells at clouds.
Excellent.
Did them all without misspelling them. Well done, Core. Look at that trooper.
Yay!
Advertising.
Yay! Thank you so much. Heck yeah. Oh,
Glad I was here for the hot takes. Yes, I'm glad that you got to come and listen, and I hope you disagree with
this was
everything
really
that I
fun.
said.
As I sort of said at the start, I was almost anticipating I wouldn't get much work done. To be fair, I got at least a template of the can done, so that's fine. But yeah, I'll have to have a little talk. I'll have a little talk with girls, and we might maybe just for a couple of them alternate when you have a Wednesday off, because yeah, the only reason that Spook is here is that he has Wednesday off tomorrow, because normally he has to be in bed by like 9 because of the shift he works at work.
Fuck it, you can have Carl's here as well. It'd be funny to bounce ideas
That
off
would
of
be
somebody
very
who loves fourth generation to hear from old man shouts
Actually,
at
yeah.
cloud.
Yeah, we'll do 2 and 3. We'll do 2 and 3, but when we do 4, Curls has to be here as well because it's her favorite gen. This could be a fun thing for us to do on Tuesdays. But yeah, I'm gonna end now. Looks like most of the people that I would normally raid into are sleep. Is that Maple? Is Maple live?
But I hope you're having a fantastic
Maple
Maple.
syrup.
Maple. I'm raiding to Maple. Maple's not normally live when I stream because of time zones. You guys are cute together. It was fun. Thank you.
I'm not cute, sod off.
We're cute together because I'm cute. Love you.
Love you too. I'm very tired. I was up at
Yes.
4 o'clock this morning.
Yes. Spoo's not normally here, so thank you so
I've
much
been
for
up at
coming,
20.
everybody. I love you very much. You can follow me on Twitter, join in the Discord, all that jazz that streamers say. You can see my schedule here, just to the side of me. Tomorrow I will be here. I will be doing art in the afternoon. I will be here in the evening with my friend Curls, who we've mentioned a couple of times. So I'm going to be playing through Dragon Age with her. So we can enjoy our Dragon Age playthrough. Thursday is when I play MMOs, because I have no time to play MMOs unless I schedule it for a stream. And then Friday, I'll be back with Spook again. So if you enjoyed hearing the old man yell at clouds, we can have the old man yell at clouds some more on Friday, when we're going to be playing through Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, which is very fun.
Yes.
Saturday I have off, and then Sunday is Pokemon Sunday, when we are actually meant to be talking about Pokemon, and I'm playing Pokemon Infinite Fusion, which is wonderful and hilarious. We have some really cursed Pokemon fusions, and it's just a great time all around, and I really hope that you join in, because it's really, 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 really fun.
Make sure you sub on a Friday, because then you can have a character in Final Fantasy and you can bail us out.
Yeah, we're adding in characters into our Final Fantasy team, which are people in chat. You can also engage and pick some fusions. It's all good fun. It's all good fun. And then at the start of the week, I do my art again, which you can see here again. So yeah, thank you. We're gonna go raid in to Maple, who is also doing some art. So go say hi. If you have some awoos, give them some awoos, and we're just gonna chill. Yeah, have a good night, everybody, and I hope to see you tomorrow, or in next week. Whatever's good for you. Bye!